Buddy,
What's good?
live.
This is such a better setup.
Oh yeah, you were.
I can see Eric.
Hold on, this is your first time, first setup?
Yeah, this is the new semicircle for me.
I don't even recognize you, man, with these glasses.
Yeah,
Tech
I
arm
can
on?
actually see everybody. We're closer, more intimate. Big fan.
Closer, huh? It's nicer.
Yeah, way closer.
I'm not close enough.
You can see my
I hated having
from here.
the mic in between. Like I would look at you and I was like seeing half
yeah.
of you. I see the real you now.
If Nick's balls poke out, just let us know in the chat.
Yeah, just listen to the chat. Sorry, it's too hot. It's too hot. Had to let them fly. All right, I'm just posting in the Discord.
Yeah, I need some good shorts. So that's the Alpha Viore for the
Viore.
shorts.
Yeah, there's like one called the Maverick.
Yeah,
I don't know which one this is, but
they know how to brand. Yeah, I'm a maverick.
No, our little camera was doing the glitch thing.
no, don't say that.
I saw a glitch.
Don't say that.
I think it's fine.
Do habla.
How do we? Yeah, look good. Good lighting.
Okay, I tagged everyone.
Team
Are you,
White.
are you a liner guy or no liner guy?
No liner, but
Liner is crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the-
Guarantees a one
like-
use.
Yeah, it's a one use.
You can't rewear it.
Dude, I know people that rewear their liner shorts. That's like rewearing your underwear.
Dude,
Disgusting.
I don't like liners at all. And like
Liners are terrible.
I have one pair of shorts that have
Great
them.
for athletic shorts.
I've cut out my liners.
one-
You've cut out your liners?
Yeah, fuck the liners.
I've worn boxers under my liners.
Yeah.
After I wear them, are just like it's like I jumped in a pool. I'm not gonna rewear them.
No, that's what I'm saying. So if you get the liners, it's one use only.
One use only.
Yeah.
Shorts should have at least 5-use policy.
For like
Not-
non-gym.
not-
use.
Yeah, non-gym. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't work out that hard. I'll wear my shorts again.
You don't sweat.
No.
You don't sweat during your workouts.
No, am I doing it wrong?
We've talked about the gene policy, right?
Yeah,
Like
so let's
these
establish the gene policy.
these are on a 5-year run. You know, these are not these are not getting washed.
Cast iron.
Like, dude, unless I sit in a pile of hog shit, I'm not washing these.
I agree.
And they look great. They look great.
Yeah.
Seasoned.
Yeah.
Fresh.
gotta get some seasoning on these
yeah.
things. All right, boys. What are we drinking today?
Eric, what did you make?
I did this twice in a row. I tried to make an old fashioned with what I saw in front of me, which I spent zero time looking. I just did whiskey and soda water, basically.
That's like the pub.
Wow.
That's like the pub old fashioned.
I did a splash of bitters, and I was like,
The
oh,
only thing
cool,
you're missing is a
old-fashioned.
bright red shitty cherry.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
about you?
Old fashioned.
real old fashioned.
Yeah. It's a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, I always rely on you to make them, but you were just like heads down your office.
Yeah. Okay, went down to the shot clock there on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Quick transition.
Yeah. You got enough time to transition?
I'm transitioning as we speak. What are you drinking? What are we having today? You drank last week. That was
I had a beer.
okay.
Yeah. I'm back. To
You
like
bad boy.
Diet Coke.
You bad boy.
Stiff.
Bad boy.
Steven's drinking Charlie Negronis.
That was just the thing Chris made up.
Yeah, but I let's run with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna run with it.
Wait. He's got a backup vessel.
Yeah.
He's got
Protein shaker?
He's got. he's
Pre-made it
got-
at home. It was a lot easier.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Our
now if I need
facilities-
more, I could just
Or no, our facilities aren't good enough for you. Here?
no, because like now I can just pour more into my.
I love his level of commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an innovator.
Yeah.
Always pushing the envelope.
Uh-oh.
What?
Nick's mic ain't working.
Oh, great.
Oh no.
Behind the scenes of those legs.
It isn't. Yeah, it's not popping on the. Oh no, it just did.
Oh, jeez.
I see a.
Are you muted? Maybe it's just the mute button.
No, because that's the mute button.
Oh, look at the levels, man. They're all askew.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Did we not check the levels before? Nice.
No.
There's your answer.
Okay, that's what it was.
Was it muted?
Nick is back. No, it was
Look
the
at Nick's
levels.
legs.
My bad. Forgot to check the levels. We're back. Chat, confirm we're back, please.
I think we're so back.
They're like telling Alan, text the boys. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
We're so back.
Good
Thank
looking
you.
out.
Yeah,
This
thank
is
you.
like honestly one of the reasons we probably should always do live. even though we talked about
Because we would
that.
record a whole show
Yeah,
and
we'd
realize.
record a whole show. Yeah.
So true.
It says can't hear Steven. Oh, I think we fixed it. Okay.
Okay.
Good, right?
Yeah, we should be good because all good.
Okay. You had me off too.
You
Didn't catch any of my jokes?
You were low-ish.
Yeah, that was selective.
None of my shtick.
That was on
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Might have just muted you on purpose.
that's hard. That's harsh.
All right, let's pay the bills real quick. Give a shout out to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code alfalfa at checkout. Get 15% off the pre-alcohol probiotic. As a reminder, ZBiotics pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It takes care of that nasty little MF or toxin.
Acetaldehyde.
That's the one. That's the one that wreaks havoc in your gut and makes you feel like shit in the morning after you drink. So the pre-alcohol takes care of it in your gut. So the next morning you can get your workout in, you can get your work in. You can just have a free day without all the nasty feelings you get after drinking. So pretty sure Armand's questioning himself if he took one or did he forget to take
No, I
one.
just got a viral video idea.
ZBiotics related or
Yeah.
Okay, you
Can I
want to talk
stuff it
about it?
in?
Yeah.
So first of all, calcium bagel. Where have you been?
Dude, where
All
has
my
calcium been?
Secondly, calcium. You know, if you want, what you could do is go back through the last 100 episodes of every time Eric says acetaldehyde, and then just chop it, bop, 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 like back to back, like all these different versions of
like
it,
that.
and then we'll just send it to ZBiotics and let them run the ad.
How to pronounce acetaldehyde.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'd be sick.
That would be.
And it
sick.
hits on the key point because people think it's the dehydration. So it's like, no, you remind people this is the one that.
Yeah, so it's like you have a little lead up, and then it goes like Eric saying that. I can't even say like Eric acetaldehyde like 20 times in a row. And
Where
then
is
just
calcium, by the
ZBiotics.com.
way?
I don't know. Well,
He's out
I
there.
like that. I like that viral video idea.
you.
Yeah. So as a reminder, go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code. It lets ZBiotics know you heard it from us. Supports the pod, and thank you ZBiotics for always being there for us.
Love you long time.
Yeah.
Did you see they have a new product?
Well,
Oh,
I did.
let's
It's like a
talk about it.
preventative product, right?
Has anyone tried it?
No, it's sold out.
Sold
No,
out?
Corby
We
has
gotta-
tried it.
We need to.
Corby's tried it for a couple months. He said
Oh, really?
What does it
changes.
do?
It changes sugar,
Or into fiber, right?
Yeah.
dietary sugar into a fiber
So like you're gonna have a night where you just go ham
on the
dessert
cakes. Yeah.
and like fucking s'mores, and you just go crazy, and it turns it into
Dietary fiber. Apparently.
wow.
That's
So you
wild.
just poop your brains out.
I don't know. I get plenty of fiber.
Me too.
It would be good to slap the glucose monitor on that thing and see if your blood sugar still
Before and
spikes.
after?
Can we test this? Yeah.
Mm.
You're
It gives me
great.
license to eat red vines and all kinds of movie food.
What if it works?
That'd be wild if it actually worked.
Dude, I'll go to Red Vines.
I mean, I shouldn't say what if it works. Like they know what they're doing. Like it works.
They do. I just still can't believe that it would actually work.
Yeah.
But are you pooping every 15 minutes?
It's worth it though if it just turns all the sugar into fiber. There's like
Wow.
no blood sugar spike.
Those guys are serious about the science.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Science first.
Mr. Abbott.
Okay, first serious topic up. Is it Travis Swift or Travis Kelce Swift?
So in preparation for this episode, Stephen has been spending a lot of time in a very peculiar corner of the internet. Would you like to tell us about this? That was a very fascinating post.
I wasn't there. It just came on my Twitter feed, and I was like, oh,
Sure.
funny.
Okay, sure.
Nah, you're part of it.
You're
That's your algo, not mine,
Yeah,
bud.
you're deep.
I am a member of the Reddit forum Gaylor Swift.
Gaylor Swift?
Yeah.
Wow. Is that a
Yeah.
pro or against Taylor?
We sit and we post conspiracy theories all day that Taylor Swift has actually been gay this entire time, or
I had
queer,
no
or some
idea.
sort of
I had no idea.
And
So-
the recent engagement has been devastating to myself and other members of the
I don't
Taylor
think
Swift
it's damning.
communities.
I think door's still open.
It's still probable.
Yeah.
Tinfoil still on.
Yeah.
It's over.
Wow.
It's over.
Wow.
I said,
That's crushing.
gay Swifties we're not doing
That's
well.
really crushing. That's at least 1% of
Yes,
our audience.
the idea that Taylor Swift might actually be heterosexual is truly a devastating blow.
So what does this mean? Are we back? Like, are we gonna end population collapse now? Everyone's gonna have babies. If she has, if
Somebody
she has,
said
if
this
she has
is
a baby.
9/11 for all 20-year-old men with girlfriends.
They're gonna get all the pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Nick, you called this. You called this a year ago.
I actually don't think I understand it. Can someone explain it to me? Like,
What?
why? What is it about Taylor Swift that is so consequential to society? Like, are
Nobody
you
knows.
telling me?
Nobody knows.
No,
We're the
but, like,
wrong
are you-
demo to
No,
ask
but,
this
like,
question.
Try to educate
Okay.
me. Like, wear the hat. Like, what are you saying? You're saying that what she does is so important, like her getting married or her having a baby, is that consequential that it will lead a large swath of women to want to do the same?
I think if she announces she's pregnant, there will be a baby boom. Like you'll see the bump in the graft.
Like we've
That'll be
never seen before.
the Taylor
I don't
bump.
understand though. Like, what is it? I'm more fascinated by her influence.
Her influences.
I think she's like categorized as a boss babe. She tells the dude she's had bad relationships with to fuck off, and she's also mostly encouraging and positive. Like she's not, I think older women think she's like a good influence and positive for young women. That's the gist I get. I don't know any of her
I would
songs
agree with that.
or anything.
What about like because she started out as a country singer. I don't know if you guys were Swifties back then, but she started out country.
Were you?
Yeah, of course I was.
Okay.
I'm a country guy.
Okay. You're a gym guy too now.
Yeah. Right. So I remember when she started out as like a 13-year-old country singer, and I imagine her demographic at that time was just like most country singers, was like a middle America conservative, but that's probably evolved quite a bit.
I saw a post saying she lives conservative but speaks liberally. Not that I care.
I don't think
But
Taylor Swift has ever been a conservative phenomenon.
What about country though?
Her song was like a little love song about Romeo and Juliet.
No, I think she definitely taps into the conservative audience until she said she's not voting for Trump.
Ooh, that'll get you.
I just don't think her audience skewed in the beginning at all.
No?
I think it was probably just women.
Because
Yeah,
she's
I
gone
don't
like
know.
she's gone
And
full pop.
it
now.
was probably mostly libs because her audience was like all women, and women skew that way.
I just want to know, was there a poly market on this, and how much money did people make? Like, would he?
There was a poly market.
There
on
was?
this. Yes, and somebody did okay. There was a user that came in at the last second and drove the market up from 20% to like 55% right before the announcement happened.
The jeweler.
Somebody like Paul the Romantic or something. I don't know. And then somebody did some deep digging and realized that she has a guitar player named Paul. And
Do we long the engagement ring stocks? Now kicks off the
Yeah, what
the
are
wing?
those?
I don't know.
Debuters.
I don't know. They're fucked anyway. All the manufactured lab-grown diamonds.
Right, you can make them now.
Yeah,
I
make them
wish-
perfect.
I wish I had done that. No, I don't. I'm sorry, babe.
Love you.
Good catch. Good catch.
I mean, it could have had another car or something, you know?
Okay.
It would have been nice.
what if you get her a lab-grown diamond, and then you just light $20,000 literally on fire in a bucket? Is it the same?
Yeah, they appreciate it the same.
Because like the point is the only reason they want the real diamond as opposed to the lab grown is so that like you undergo pain.
What was
right?
the framework? It was
It's like proof of pain.
It was like 3.
Man, what a
Dude, that's
proof
deep.
of financial pain.
Dude, that's deep.
what a
That's the
woman
whole point
whisperer
of
here.
What was the
He knows
framework?
ex-
It was supposed to be.
Whether the women know it or
Financial
not, that
pain.
is why they
Do
like
you
the
love
more
me?
expensive the real
Am
diamond.
what am I worth to you?
It's supposed to be 3 months' salary. Was that the framework?
It's supposed
to be.
it's supposed to hurt. Which is
Yeah.
why I was like, if you just
Is that inflation
burn the
adjusted?
money.
I don't know. My salary doesn't seem to be.
Doesn't.
3 months?
It used to be. That's the golden rule.
I thought that's what like the framework was.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fine,
not
I guess.
So if you go
gotta
lab
redefine-
grown,
yeah.
it's just like perfect clarity.
Everything about it is the
just
same and
perfect.
perfect, except no one had to die for it.
What if you go lab grown and you spend the same amount of money, so it's just like some absurd looking diamond?
You can go so
that-
absurd.
You
Is
can
that-
go
is that
probably
still
what, like
bad?
3 or 4 times, maybe
Yeah.
more, 5
Yeah.
times.
If we're talking equivalents.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
women
You're-
still mad at that?
There's no way a woman's mad about that.
Probably not
I
mad,
think
but they
you're
probably
right
don't
that,
want to
like,
know.
So what you described is probably true for like a subset of women, but come on, most women don't care about that. They just want to know you love them. You're going to put a ring on the finger, and that's it. Like, and if they get a better diamond as a result of it being lab grown. By the way, speaking to the bachelors out there that might put a ring on it, they don't even need to know. Like, they don't really even need to know. I mean, that's a lot of money to men these days. Like, you can have her pick the cut, everything, the style, but like do the smart thing and then put it in Bitcoin.
Did you guys buy insurance on yours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did too. Did you?
No,
No,
Definitely.
you went no insurance.
I never do insurance.
You know, because you know the insurance companies are.
You have a
bosses.
responsible wife then. My wife loses and breaks everything. I mean, my wife's responsible. Here I go again.
Yeah, good catch. Good catch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
She's rough on her stuff,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
What if you buy a lab-grown diamond, don't tell her, and then put the difference in 3x Nvidia stock, and then 10 years later, you're like,
Here's a house.
surprise.
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
Divorce papers.
It's like so many things I can try. I'm so excited.
But if the trade goes the wrong way, you are a degenerate. You gambled away our
No, you
savings.
just never tell her.
You never tell.
yeah.
Obviously, it's like you can only win.
Yeah, this is pure upside.
Yeah, pure upside.
Okay. Yeah, I'm for that. That makes total sense.
You're gonna make your own luck, Nick.
Anyone proposing soon?
Anyone?
Well, we only
Anyone?
have one. We have
Yeah.
one left.
Anyone? Anyone?
Yeah,
Maybe that was for the chat.
that was
Maybe it was for
definitely for
Steven?
the chat. Huh?
Yeah.
What's the chat doing?
How can you guys be pro crypto and not get mimetic scarcity psyop of diamonds?
I do get it. That's what I just said. That's why I said, like, if you just literally light money on fire, then
Alan Bryce says, so just take some time off for work for a few months before you propose.
Yeah, 3 months salary.
Yeah, maybe 3 months.
yes,
Take off 2.5.
work smarter,
That would-
not harder.
That's nice.
Armand, Taylor Swift is like a modern MJ plus LeBron plus Tom Brady plus Lewis Hamilton celebrity icon in the hearts of millennial women.
What? Really?
I guess so.
That's so fascinating.
I was trying to frame it through that lens as well. It's like, who do I, put on this pedestal, and then like, do I actually change my behaviors based on Kobe or something? I'd probably, like the mama mentality stuff. Like,
Get a little underbite going sometimes.
yeah, Kobe face.
So interesting. I only know like 2 songs. 3.
There's no way that's true.
Do you guys have any idols that you subconsciously put on a pedestal, like millennial women put up Taylor Swift?
Nobody does anything like women do Taylor Swift.
Nobody.
It's just like
Yeah, many.
absurd.
Right? Like,
Maybe not
even
the same,
historical, I guess.
But yeah, many.
yeah.
Oh
Many
yeah.
idols.
If you go backwards in time, and you're gonna
Yeah, you're
scratch
pull.
Armand's itch.
It's like a clown
Well,
car
you
scenario.
know,
They're just keep coming out for Armand.
But it's funny because I do think the axiom, the sentiment of never meeting your idols is probably true. It's not an axiom, but it's the like never meeting your idols. Like they're alluring and intriguing to me because I don't know them. They're fascinating,
Right. You don't get to see the downsides of like Plato.
But they're plagued like all of us.
Yeah, they're people.
They're people. But I'm fascinated by who they are and what they've done, and modern day people too. Well, I mean, Nick has brought that up consistently. That like we live in a society where we no longer value the individual, and what's like there's real detriment to that. We don't have heroes anymore, not like we used to. No ticker, parade for like someone
Yeah.
accomplishing
Astronaut or something.
something.
Yeah.
I saw Bezos had a comeback recently. I think it was Andrew Ross Sorkin interviewing him in front of a crowd recently,
I loved that.
talking about his like wealth he's made and how much he's worth, and he just responds like, "Why don't we have a tracker of how much wealth you created for other people?" He's like, "We should do that." He's like, "At Amazon, it's worth X trillions of dollars, and I've created that much wealth for people, and then you take into account all the small businesses that are like on our platform that have created wealth for themselves." And he kind of goes on and says, "We should track how much wealth you've created for other people, and then when you look at how much money they've made, it doesn't seem so bad." And that was the rough edges of what he
was
said.
like, and I'm probably at the top. And what I love about it is 2 things. Number one, it's true. Number two, talk about a masterclass in PR.
Yeah,
Like that guy has had enough training to where he knew how to spin that question and that attention of you're one of the richest people in the world to I'm actually one of the greatest
The most
wealth
benevolent.
creators of
Yeah.
all time.
Did anybody buy that though?
I buy it.
That's so ridiculous.
We were already kind of bought into
do you
it though.
mean?
I don't. But
He's like, I was like, oh, I've created
Has he
2
not?
trillion. I know. Is it your assertion that Amazon destroyed no value in the process of like doing that? Like they didn't just take out any
whoa.
businesses. Like it was just all. It was just like a net.
what
2
was Barnes and
trillion?
Noble worth? Like 30 million?
Here
I'm
comes the
looking at it.
contrarian again.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, well said. I'm looking at it in a singular lens of a person and how they evaluate the wealth.
But
that
it's
they've
like
created
overly
and prosperity.
simplistic, fuzzy PR. Like
about
how
this?
many
It's not
how many
the-
businesses like don't
it's not-
exist in person
We don't
anymore
have to
because
go
nobody
down-
shops in person
No,
anymore?
hold on. What is my job as an individual? To be a benefit to society. How am I going to be a benefit to society if I just sit and think about every decision I make as a trade-off and the consequences of what I'm doing to other people? Now, there's a line. You don't want to commit crime. You don't want to rob people. You don't want to steal. You don't want to do certain things. But if your job is to create a valuable enterprise and you're creating prosperity for other people and you benefit as a result of it, how has he done wrong?
I mean, he's
You're-
clearly.
He's delivering
You're moving the
something in 2
goalposts.
hours to you.
That's
No,
not
but
something I'm
it's,
arguing.
you wouldn't argue that he's net positive.
He's net positive. but to
Clearly,
say
though,
he's
like
But this is like the.
it's not even close.
This is like crypto math, where you like put like the market cap on something. You're like, wow, look at all that value that was created. And it's just like, no, it's just the market cap. That doesn't mean you created.
I think it's a rounding error in the like amount he's destroyed versus. how
Oh,
much
it's definitely not a rounding error.
Okay,
It's
what about
innovation? Did you want to wait 7 days to get it or 2 hours?
No, I think it's net good, but to like for him to just like fillet himself with this like kind of fake stat, and for everybody to be like,
It's real.
oh,
He was
wow.
probably underselling it.
He is
No, he's
underselling.
not
He is
underselling
underselling.
Dude, the velocity of the economy that he produced by getting things in a day or two,
yeah?
that
It's
has
unbelievable.
compounding impacts.
I think Amazon's a unique business because it's like more of a marketplace that allows like individual
But it's
contributors.
also AWS. It's a media company. I mean, it just
True, but I
goes
was
on.
I was actually comparing it to like Nvidia and just like the employees. I saw a tweet recently that was like any employee that was hired before 2020 2022 or something is now a millionaire just because of like the stock options you've received. And that one's like a little harder to argue. Like you didn't really like step on any. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just like work
Benefited by
you work at a job and you
participating.
like own some equity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, the financial advisors must be just cold calling.
I'm a big fan.
every
I think the
video.
guy has had a clear vision from day one. I think he invested in the right things. I think he knew what his focus was. He started from day one saying whatever the customer needs. How do we create the best experience possible for the customer? I remember there was an early interview with a journalist where he was sitting down and being questioned as they IPO'd or they were about to go, into their IPO. And they were like, well, you're supposed to be an internet company. What are you doing with all these warehouses? What are you doing with fulfillment centers? This is not part of what you're promising us as investors. Like, what are you? He's like, you're trying to put me in a box. I'm giving a different version. Like, he was like, you're trying to put me in a box. I'm telling you, my through line is whatever is best for the customer. If that requires a fulfillment center in Des Moines in order to be able to deliver these goods faster, more readily, and make returns easier and drop the price of returns to zero and make them free, that's what I'm going to do. So you're trying to categorize me, and I'm trying to tell you that the entire ethos of the company has a specific direction. And he's followed that direction and then expanded to AWS and all these things, which I think is like genius because now AWS is like the lion's share of their profit.
Yeah, it used to be books.
Yeah. Started as just like, I mean, isn't that incredible? The other thing that's incredible about Amazon is like how little money he started with. Like it was literally like one seed round, one Series A, IPO. Now that's also a consequence of the fact of like how the markets were structured back in the 90s. Yeah. We didn't have late stage capital. Right now you can go late stage capital and get like $1 billion on the
Series
private
G,
market.
yeah.
Right. So, but like the acceleration was like from millions to 200 million.
And it also
And then
came with its
IPO'd.
own consequences. It like resulted in a massive .com bubble.
It
that,
did.
That
But it
washed out like
accrued
99%
enough
of people.
value on its own to justify,
For sure.
yeah.
All right. We also want to chat about see if you have any reactions from Steven's alt-right introduction to Eric.
I really enjoyed that, guys. That was awesome. It was fascinating. I don't know a lot about Nick Fuentes, but I have like watched like a bit. It was really interesting. Like I agree with like Steven's diagnosis of what caused
Yeah,
this.
why somebody would go that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with like the reaction and how somebody like Nick Fuentes like gains prominence. My problem with it's not a problem with like Steven's take on it.
What happened? What happened?
Oh, did we lose
Or is
everybody?
that a different pop-up?
We're good.
Okay.
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 Sorry.
I mean, there was like, I mean, some of this already Steven knows because I posted it in the Discord like earlier this week.
A lot of respect for you. I didn't read the whole thing because I wanted.
Okay, I don't even remember what I wrote.
I want your impression.
There was actually one thing
Here.
that you said that I do want to see. I felt that you saying, so I'll just read what I wrote. You said like, what would be like an alternative reaction? And I said it would just be simply to create an ideology you'd like to see in the world itself instead of running in the other direction. So they've been labeled as racist, sexist Nazis, and they're simply embracing that. And I think an immature and likely reaction is to just embrace that and step into it wholeheartedly. And what it really does is create the space for that. So it created the space for someone like Nick Fuentes to step up and be like, I'll be that. And we know, like, you had the three options there. Like, the woke version doesn't work. Ignorance doesn't really work because it's not always bliss. But that doesn't mean the only option left is to just become what you are labeled. And personally, I mean, I'm just speaking as a person that, like, what do I as an optimist want to see in the world? I want to see a reaction of a greater good, and there's a vacuum. And then within that vacuum, these types of reactions tend to grow really rapidly, which is what you are characterizing. You're like, the basement dwellers have been sitting in this vacuum. They're ignored. They're not getting the love, attention, security, future prosperity that any other generation has had. And so it's only natural, especially for the youth. I mean, I remember myself as a young college kid, and I would have probably had a very similar reaction. But so my problem isn't like, I just think that there is alternatives. There's many alternatives, and there's room in this vacuum for people to arrive with like a positive, prosperity seeking, equalizing force that is ultimately going to be like the first turning if we still believe in this cycle of how things will evolve. So my main gripe with it wasn't the diagnosis, it was just to believe that this is the only possible outcome. And maybe you didn't mean that, but that's just the way I interpreted the pod, you know?
Yeah, I definitely don't think I said that. And if I did, I definitely didn't mean that.
That's how I, as a listener, took it as like, this is the natural reaction, and this is
Yeah, what do you
basically
expect them to
what's...
do?
That's
yeah.
a different thing. Like, this
Yeah.
is obviously the natural reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that, like, eye for an eye doesn't,
It's just stupid.
yeah, it doesn't.
It's stupid. It's
Serve.
immature. It makes the world a terrible place. But then, you know, you guys talked about platforming as well. Like, platform him. Put him out in front of all the best ideas and let him get crucified. But what's fascinating is because he's articulate and smart and is gaining attention for being radical, and we live in this like extremely radically powered algorithm world, no one is able to capture. I bet you there are people with 10 times better ideas out there that aren't getting the attention because the algorithm isn't feeding them. So they're not able to rise to prominence enough to be relevant enough to go debate him. And so he's stuck debating like the old world, and no one has been able to step up and debate him with a better idea. It takes an Obama, I know you guys have your gripes with him, but it takes an Obama type figure to rise up with a new unifying idea of hope that captures enough attention in the algorithm to then go and compete with him, and they'll turn him into a child. They'll be able to expose him?
I think it's so naive though, because I think he has debated a lot of people, and I think he annihilates everybody that he debates, and I think that's one of the reasons why people don't want to debate him, is because they see it as like a very lose-lose situation. Like, if you win, it's like, oh, you out-debated a white supremacist, good job. And if you lose, then you've basically just like, you've tanked your entire career, and then you've like maybe empowered somebody. So like, I think you're very oversimplifying like how
Let me ask you a
simplistic
question.
and easy to.
Let me ask you a question. You're a smart guy. Could you debate him?
No, I think he would annihilate me.
Do you agree with him? Do you think he'd annihilate you because he's right, or because he's strawmanning you?
I think he would annihilate me through a combination of the fact that like I would be forced to agree with a lot of the ideas, because a lot of them are actually rooted in things that I agree with, just taken to particular extents that I don't agree with, right? So if you have somebody who you maybe like half agree with but strongly disagree with the rest, and that person is very intelligent and good at debating, like somebody could like out debate me on like anything who's like good at debating.
Okay, I disagree that you wouldn't annihilate him. Like, you would agree with the sentiment and the problem, but his solution sucks. And you have the wherewithal to propose alternative solutions that are better for the world. That's what's missing in the conversation. Everyone's getting caught up in the nuances of like the sentiment of the problem space he's discussing, but they don't have an alternative solution. And you could easily propose an alternative solution that's better and not this childish, immature, racist, sexist, let's just all become Nazis sort of reality.
You're strawmanning his position to an extent too, though, right?
No, I'm not, because I agree with a lot of the sentiment directionally of what he's describing. What I don't agree with is like how to address the problem. That would be interesting to have a conversation with him about like, hey man, like I understand you, I see you, I feel you. Let's talk about what the world could look like that doesn't require this like extreme polarization and pushback in the other direction.
But I've listened to him enough to know that he would probably just say something like,
that's naive.
Yeah, you live in a fucking fantasy land. You're like, yeah, it would be great if the world were like that, but the world is not like that. It'd be great if you
So it's
existed
just so
in a
different
political
now
system.
that like there's no possibility for like
Well,
we have to live in a tribalist society now?
Well, if you don't accept the fact that the very structure of the political system is some sort of like fair thing where you can actually like enact change, then like, yeah, like if you're arguing for all this stuff, then you are just arguing for fantasy, right? Because you lived in a completely like rigged game that you can't do anything about, right? So you'd have to go like way further back to first principles on that and like fix that, right? And like you would probably like agree with a lot of that, right? Like I think that like we're in like a logical place where all political discourse has sort of devolved into this like very tribalistic fucking blood sport, because when all of the structures like break down, all of the faith in the institutions break down, that's literally what it is, blood sport. And that's also not irrational, by the way.
But isn't that temporary?
Well, like that's literally how this country was founded, right? So then that would be like a thing you have to. One of the tricky things with this is that like a logical person can like, or somebody who is like smart, and if you're logical, they can get you to concede that if you look through, like one of the things people say all the time is like violence is never the answer. But if you look throughout history and how like every country has been formed, basically how this country was formed, how like a lot of things have taken place, like it turns out that like very frequently like violence is the answer. And then if you accept that, and then you accept that the institutions we created to like avoid violence like don't work anymore, then you can kind of see how you've painted yourself into this corner, and you can kind of see how it has devolved into this kind of like blood sport thing, because all of the structural stuff is like very broken at you know.
But this is the pure difference between an optimist and a cynic, and I think I said this before, but a cynic is just an optimist that was overvaluing and setting too high of a standard and has been disappointed. I think George Carlin actually famously said that in a bit. Could be wrong, attribute it correctly. But the point is, Nick is looking at the landscape and saying, like, these are the facts. You're naive to believe that anything could be different. And I'm sitting there saying, like, that's fucking hogwash. What are you talking about? Like, just because the system has arrived at this point doesn't mean that a new unifying pathway forward is impossible, because these things happen in cycles. Like, if I'm going to sit here and say, like, oh, well, we just have to do the best with what we have, I mean, all I'm doing is making matters worse. I'm not doing any good for anybody. I'm just creating more tribalism. And like, all I'm doing is separating human beings from one another. Eventually, that cycle needs to end, and there has to be a path forward that is literally a new vision. And that new vision requires a radical new landscape, and it only will exist. And it's going to be very hard to break through. That's not a good figure to make. It's very hard to break through with that new vision, but that's what people do. That's what we've done for millennia. That's the argument against Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, but he's like, no, I do want to section all those tribes, and I think my tribe should win.
Exactly, and that's
beat
where I
everyone.
win the argument. I'm like, you're a fucking dumb racist fuck. Like, what
But
are you
you
talking
wouldn't
about?
win that argument because you'd have to concede that that is actually how the world and how the country has currently broken down.
Doesn't have anything to do with the future.
And the reason why people go to Nick, right, is because like there have been a bunch of people who have come along and given them all like the hopey changey like vibesy type stuff, and it doesn't work if like your opponent is just willing to like punch you in the face over and over again and doesn't care. And so inevitably you start turning towards the idea that, well, yeah, like I guess like if we're in a blood sport, like I better team up with my my guys too. And it's like it's very hard, I think, to explain to that person like why that is like illogical.
Well, that's where I disagree with most of these like hopey optimists. Like, if you got to fight, you got to fight, man. Like like revolutions come at a huge cost. Like war, and of any kind, kinetic or not, is going to come with a huge cost. You got to fight for your vision of the future. So, I don't think it comes for free.
Yeah. Well, and the other tricky thing too is like you would probably agree with him on like his largest issue. You know,
What is it?
It was Israel. You know, he's been.
Well, that's been a fascinating, crazy thing.
He has all this
for
like,
me lately.
This cachet now because like he was so early to this thing that has now kind of become like a consensus thing, at least among the youth in this country, across like multiple political parties. So he's like kind of the thought leader in the one issue that transcends like political parties like amongst the youth. So it's like kind of like a weird. There's kind of like this like position of power he's speaking from now, or authority, right? And then people are like, I don't know, he's kind of right about that. And
You can be right about some things, but be wrong about the important things.
sure,
too.
of course. But like, I'm just saying, like, the idea that the ideas are so cartoonishly bad that anybody with basic, intellect could just simply talk to the man in a debate setting and just vanquish the ideas and everybody lives happily ever after. I think it's like pretty naive, you know. I don't think it's that simple. I do think we should platform these ideas, and I think the process of like, discussing them and kind of swatting the bad ones down is a long, iterative like slog,
And it is
like,
dangerous.
It just takes like thousands of. Yeah, I mean, but it shouldn't be dangerous. Like if the ideas are truly bad and truly bad for humanity, then I think they should just lose. It would probably be like a bit of like an intellectual blood sport, but
They lose long term eventually, but you have things like Nazi Germany that occurred that prove,
yeah, but
the
I don't think.
cost of the short term.
Yeah, but I think Nazi Germany did not come about because of like a free marketplace of like that. I think that was just like that was stuff like rising in the shadows.
Yeah.
Like I think Hitler was like he was just doing speeches to crowds, right? And like they were by himself, just riling people. It's not like he was like having like Oxford debates the whole time, right? So I think it's a good example of what I'm talking about. Like if you just have this figure in the shadows, just like talking to his crowd, nobody's challenging him. He's building up power. Eventually, there's just so many people that follow this person, and now you've got like a huge problem. Whereas if you just like didn't deplatform in the first place and went through the process of like taking on all these ideas, right? And the problem is like initially people don't want to do that because like they would have like taken a lot of like bullets to the head, like effectively, because a lot of the shit they believe was like wrong, and they would have gotten like trashed, right? So it would have taken like them, like again, like Israel's a good example of this. All of these sort of intellectuals like on the right, the people who like to debate and do all this stuff, like who are the two biggest people on the right these days who are like always like debating and stuff? It's like Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk, right? You fucking love Israel, right? So they would have had to basically get blown the fuck up on their main love of an issue in order to take this guy down. But they wouldn't have been able to take him down because like he would have actually won on the main issue, like his main issue, and he would have like gained more power in the first place by doing that debate, right? And like
So your biggest pessimism comes from the people who would debate him wouldn't do a good job, and people who would do a good job, there's no, the game theory says there's no winning for them, so there's gonna be no incentive for them to debate him, and assuming that a debate where he gets squashed is what tamps him down.
Yeah, we have to do it now, and like, and I think in a way now that like Israel has become this like consensus issue, now it's better because like now
You don't need to
like,
debate that part.
Yeah, because like now if like Shapiro loses to him on like an Israel, it's like most people don't even care anymore because nobody agreed with that anyway. Like the debate has sort of moved to the fringes of the other ideas, right? To the other.
You've disarmed him on his big one.
Yeah. So and then maybe the rest of the stuff like is like a a battle of ideas that can be won.
Just imagining Nick Fuentes' voice and Ben Shapiro's voice.
Oh my
in a
god,
debate,
it'd just
it's
be like just so much twerpiness.
Yeah,
It would
a lot
just
of
be, like,
twerpiness.
Twerp overload.
Uh,
I would pay at least $400 to watch that on
Pay-per-view?
like
Yeah.
a 4-hour kind of just. Oh my god, that would be blood sport right there.
Yeah, set it up. You'd be the Don King. All right. You guys want to talk about flag burning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quit. Sorry. I read the chat the second you said that.
Oh, what did the chat say?
I don't know. Somebody said glasses guy clearly just watched some clips.
Wow, glasses guy.
As in he's
Glasses.
educated? He's educated
It's
about the
very-
topic?
No. That's true. I don't know much about Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good for you
I'm
to
kind of in the
admit
same
that.
boat. Like,
No, I
we
thought I said that.
GPT'd his takes
You did
before.
say that. You're pretty.
I actually have a follow up.
Yeah, so I would love to know what I'm missing. I would love to understand that.
I have a follow up for you, dude. How many people in your life have you like come across, like in your actual life, not internet life? Have you come across that like espouse what Nick Fuentes is talking about? Because I've literally come across probably zero, at least like
Very
explicitly.
few.
But
Very
but I don't
few.
hang out with the youths. I don't hang out with that many people, to be honest.
That's why you're number 0, and his number is going to be like even more 0, obviously.
Well, his wife's a teacher, so she's hanging out
Yeah,
with
I
youths.
mean, I only know about him from just being a digital, online person. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm only asking because I hope that the
I
number's
don't,
small.
I don't
Like,
hear about him from the youth.
But even if it was tens of millions, you could still potentially have here at 0.
right. That's like a small percentage wise, but massive.
Yeah, and I think the reason Steven brought it up was like, you should know if when a normie mentions this name, because then you're probably crossed the threshold there.
Yeah. No, I feel like I'm optimistic, just like Armand, where I hope that remains on the fringes. Even if he like becomes more popular, I just like hope that remains on the fringes because like I don't want that to be the way that we live.
That's like you saying like 15 years ago, like, oh, I just hope woke remains in the university, and it's just like,
Yeah.
well, no, like those people just grow up and they go out in the world, and then that becomes the thing.
I also hope that.
Yeah, like he's not fringe amongst a particular age group, and that age group will get older, and
So I totally agreed with like, even though I've only watched some clips, I know the level of like influence this guy has. I have no qualms with like that discussion of how big this is.
Yeah, it's important to know what's
It's
coming.
huge.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how a better vision for the future is at odds with, like I think that's a
because
valid argument.
it's too vague and inspirational, right? You have one person just spitting hard truth about the world as it pertains to like as these people perceive the world, right? I would argue that most of what he says just rings as complete truth to them.
I'm
right?
saying the same thing. I'm saying to acknowledge those truths, but to provide a solution that is worthwhile for all people in this country and broader.
Sure, but what is that?
Well, I'm not a fucking, Nick Fuentes or politician. I don't give a shit about. Like, I got to do my thing that I think is going to add the most value to society.
Well,
That's
on the
someone
bright
else's
side,
job.
we have a show, so we do have the ability to like present alternative ideas.
I mean, if you pushed me, I could start to propose some things, but I'm saying that's like not what I'm here to do. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I know there are certain people that really care about that.
I'm not even saying you should do it. I'm just saying like I don't see a lot of people like pushing like tangible ideas that are good that these people can like really latch
Actually
on.
latch
to.
on.
Why
That'll
I
speak to
ended
them.
up saying in the Discord later, I was like, it seems like it's going to be shittier for longer before it gets better. Like, it seems like society still wants to go through some period of pain before there's going to be a change.
yeah, we got to dip into the balanced price range before we go up again.
Some comments from the chat. First of all, Van says, "Didn't mean to be disrespectful. It's my first time here."
You're good, Van.
So,
don't worry.
Yeah. No,
that was the
Not at all.
10,000th most offensive thing somebody said to Armand.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that. There was a really I got called
I
a
got
lot
a few
of
good
words.
ones that just come immediately to mind.
Yeah.
Eric's
Remember
got,
that day when
Eric's
we
got
really
some good
got trolled?
strays. I feel
Yeah.
like Eric's
Dude.
got some real good strays.
No, but I think we welcome it. It's fun.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
we want you to bring the zingers. Tim Timothy says tribalism is very real in Australia with significant population pockets, creating distinct divides. Traveling to a different part of Australia can feel like entering another world. Same, Tim. Same. I imagine the same thing in different pockets of the U.S. And the Boyda says probably a lot of similarities between USA Today and Weimar Germany. Marty's just happy that we're talking about Nick Fuentes again.
Marty loves it. I mean, dude, the world is just so fucking gnarly, polarized right now. Like, okay, like, did you guys see the stuff that happened with like the Scottish girl?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I did not.
She
Oh my god!
she
So, like,
bared an axe. She brandished an axe against an immigrant
Oh,
who was
dude, she did a literal giant knife and axe like this. There's this like all these videos going around of her like this, and then people have like obviously turned her into this like AI like heroine, and it's just like it's funny because like most people in my life don't know that this has happened. Like you guys don't know that this has happened, but like on the internet, like this is like just like red meat for this particular subset of
was
people.
she blonde, white, blue-eyed by any chance?
No, she was Scottish, I think.
Okay.
Looking, she's kind of like a plain
she
Jane
was-
looking 14-year-old
she was white,
Scottish
yeah.
girl. She's white,
Okay.
yeah. But like I think like there was legitimately like a migrant trying to like sexually assault her.
it was like to protect against being raped.
Oh,
It's like the narrative.
all right, good
And
for
she
her
was like arrested
Yeah.
initially, right?
What the hell?
And then
This
so
is like a
people
whole
freaked
thing
out.
Elon keeps tweeting about lately.
I mean, Europe's fucking wild these days.
It's wild.
Okay, we've been talking about this for a while, and I know in like the early days, people were just like, "You guys are exaggerating. This is like not a thing that's happening like a lot." And then it's just like, okay, maybe it is happening a little more, but it's not that big of a. And then I think it's at the point now where people are finally
carrying
like,
axes.
People are finally like, "Oh, there's a problem here," right? Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, I told you there's a problem here."
Okay, so with this particular instance, I didn't see, but the quote unquote rapist was the one filming.
Yes.
So why the fuck was he filming himself trying to rape somebody?
No, because he knows like these people feel empowered. Like they know that these fucking European governments are more concerned with like protecting these people than they are with like their own citizens. Like that's like the generalized sentiment, right? That's why all these cartoons, like there's some gnarly cartoons going around with like these girls like getting raped and stuff, and they're like, "That's my daughter," and then the police are like, "Shut up, bigot," and then they like arrest them.
Oh
and
my
they're,
God.
like,
Which is like edified by the fact that she got arrested.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is why everybody just totally flipped out about this. But then it sounds like there's been like a flip-flopping of that from the internet backlash, which is good because now it sounds like that guy who was
Okay,
filming.
Europe's just late
being-
to the pendulum swing. Europe's coming.
Boyda says that that girl is the Greta pendulum swing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Anti-Greta.
Oh my God, she's the anti-Greta.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she is. It's like, how dare you? And then just fucking battle axe.
Yeah.
So was she carrying the axe? Did she have the axe in her car?
Dude, like I can't believe you haven't seen this photo.
I just want to know the logistics of like how she got to the axe.
This is like actually going to be like one of those like iconic photos. That
Like
go down in
Schwarzenegger ripped it off the
history.
wall in like a fire emergency.
She's legitimately like
What's her
Yeah,
name?
it was like axe and sword.
That computer doesn't work.
Wait, I gotta.
I know. Sad.
I know. I'm gonna look it up and show
I
it to you.
need more liquid.
Yeah, get liquid.
I don't know if we have any.
I'm sure we do somewhere.
Where's
The bar's over here now.
Where's the bar?
We moved the bar. All right. Anything else to say on this, or can we move on?
I mean, I could talk about this for hours. It's up to you.
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on.
I want to see the photo.
Yeah, there's the photo.
Oh, she looks young. How old is she?
She's like 13
16?
or 14.
Oh my God, that changes my whole visual of this thing.
Look, she's got just 2 weapons, both hands.
Pretty rad.
What a badass.
I know it's kind of, like, but it's like kind of sad. Like if you are in a society where like a 13-year-old girl feels like she has to take matters in her own hands with like a fucking axe, like because like not even it's one thing for like the law to like abandon you, but to like have like all of the men of your society, like you can't even rely on them.
Like a stranger seeing that happen come to protect you.
Yeah. But because this is like something we know in California too. Like there's all these stories of like, you know, somebody breaks into your house and like you shoot them and then like you go to jail, right? It's just it's fucking mad.
Sorry, Tunsky in the chat says, "What's the contract address? There's got to be a token for this."
Dude, there's 1,000% a token. There's definitely like 20,000 tokens right now.
Oh,
This is
God.
probably an interesting token actually because like it's unclear what exactly you brand it to me. So there's like a big opportunity. Like there's some tokens where you're just like, oh yeah, that's obviously the token name.
Axe,
you know?
Axe Girl token.
Like Peanut the squirrel. Like the token was obviously going to be Peanut, right? But like, yeah, what do you make the token for? Axe Girl. She also has a knife, and there's a lot of stuff going on.
Whoever brands it the most correctly will win.
I'm sure somebody in the chat already is aware of the token and owns it. So if you could just tell us what it is, just give me the ticker, please. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, so
Switching gears to tequila too.
Well,
switching gears to tequila.
man with limited options.
Well, it's not bad tequila,
And
so
this
you're
is,
at least you're drinking good
And
tequila.
this is good tequila.
Yeah.
Beautiful bottle.
It's pretty good tequila.
I was gonna say something
pretty good.
inappropriate.
You gonna say something inappropriate?
Yeah. So Trump.
You know this is where you're supposed to do that.
Yeah, I know.
Not at work. Here.
Like
Yeah.
Here.
Is this
like
a safe
me
place?
inappropriate or you inappropriate?
No, but then like employees can watch it. It's not a good.
Oh,
not a
I'm
good
so
place.
past that. I'm so past
Nick's
that.
mom's in the audience.
Yeah, watch your mouth.
Hi, Mom.
Wash your mouth out.
We're past that.
All right, so Trump announced a new executive order. He said that he claims a mandate of a 1-year prison sentence for those who burn the American flag. And it turns out the executive order is a little different. It just requires the attorney general to investigate that person for other crimes, but that's not as fun to talk about. So let's just assume that this is like,
Wait, so you burn the flag and they just investigate you just to see if there's other shit they can.
yeah, I think this, at least the sentiment here is that like, well, it violates the First Amendment, so it doesn't actually say that in the executive order, and we should talk about if it violates the First Amendment or not. But I found out today before the pod, there's actually an organization in the U.S. that is allowed to burn flags legally, no recourse.
What
And
is the current law?
Isn't it legal for everyone to burn
it is,
flags?
but there's one that's like stamped approval.
I thought like you're supposed to burn a flag if it like touches the ground, like
So
in a respectful
The
way.
Boy Scouts can do it in the process of which you retire a flag.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a process in which you retire it, and apparently you have to burn it the entire thing. Not one thread can be left, and you have to do something with the ashes. I don't know.
I was a Boy Scout in my younger days. I remember.
Were
this
you?
Loosely remember.
I bet
this.
you were a Boy Scout and you were a Boy Scout.
I was definitely not a Boy Scout.
Well, you were.
I was
Oh.
Boy Scoutish.
You were gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a fucking Boy Scout.
Okay. Kumon, Boy Scout. I got it.
Yeah, Kumon. You'd think Kumon, Boy
Yeah,
Scout.
you would.
You would
You
think.
would. You
Tiger
would.
Mom.
All right, so I had my opinion changed just before this podcast because I was like, I think it should be okay if you burn a flag. Like for the pure First Amendment rights, I would hate it. I would probably like grab the flag if I saw someone burning in front of me. Probably want to punch them in the face. But I don't know if you should get a prison sentence for doing it. Was my initial reaction.
What do you think now and why?
Yeah, I too pivoted on this.
So your brother actually convinced me.
Interesting.
Yeah, he said well, actually, multiple people in the office convinced me. Caesar said, if you burn a trans or a gay pride flag, that's hate speech. And his argument was like, well, isn't this kind of hate speech? Your brother's argument was, okay, you burn it at home, in the privacy of your own home, totally fine. If you burn it in public,
As a demonstration.
yeah, that's a crime. He's like, what other thing in this world am I allowed to burn, to destroy, in expression of my free speech rights? He's like, am I allowed to go light a dumpster on fire in public
A
and just say,
Manchester United jersey. You can just do that whenever you want.
okay. He's like, am I allowed to graffiti a business? Is that me expressing my free speech? So
okay, well,
that was his
That
argument.
stuff is
That
property of
is
someone
that's a
else.
classic Mike one that I would just start like being
Yeah,
like,
that,
okay.
I don't think that.
Yeah, no,
because
that's
just
not a good
property.
one.
He had more arguments, but that's where he started. I'm curious
Let's
what
just
you
say
guys
it's
think.
your property.
Yeah,
No
the
one would-
vandalism
no
one
one-
is like it's somebody else's property.
No one would
obviously,
care
is
if
the
you were
problem.
lighting your own
But what if-
dumpster on fire.
Okay. Can
Like,
you
you
can you
can't
take
bur-
your own couch and light it on fire?
Sure. I mean, then you're
That's an
probably
interesting angle.
then you're probably like breaking
Considered.
some fire law,
Arson
depending
or
on how
something?
you do it, where you do it.
What do you guys think?
But that just starts to get like that's not the point, even, right?
No, Caesar's argument I think is the best one actually. Is that we've now established precedent. There's like a ton of states where like if you burn like a pride flag, like it's like a hate crime, you go to jail. There's somebody who is like, you remember when they were like painting pride flags in the streets,
Oh yeah.
and some guy in a pickup truck like,
Cleaned
Dump
it up or
water on
something?
it or something.
yeah, he just peeled out on it, and then he was like arrested for that. Whoa. Yeah.
But okay, so I get that, but
Which I think is different because you could maybe argue that that's like city property in a way. So like I don't want to say
Okay.
that's the same, but like there are states where like yeah, if there was like a pride parade and you went out to the pride parade and you like burned the pride flag in front of everybody, like you could be arrested.
I'm
charged with
wondering,
a crime.
Stephen, because I think in the past you have talked about this topic, where you said like we should allow hate speech because that is still free speech.
Yeah, we should allow hate speech.
Right.
The very concept of hate speech is like ridiculous because to define something as hate speech requires some centralized party to label what hate is.
It's just subjective.
And it turns out that usually the party that's doing that like has some particular interests in mind, and you know it's just sort of like a mob rule kind of thing. In
Okay,
particular instances.
so on this topic, you remain the same, where you would allow people to burn the American flag.
But because of
yeah.
the precedent, you're saying now, and then that's an argument for look at the slippery slope.
Yeah, it's an argument for the thing I've always said about this stuff, which is
That
that like once
shouldn't
you
happen in
start
the first
doing
place.
it, like you've just opened this Pandora's box where
Okay, what I think is really interesting is the psychology of it all. Like, why does a person want to burn the flag? A person wants to burn the flag because to them, it's a demonstration of expression against the way things are. And I can understand that. On the other hand, I look at that and say, like, but if you're in this country, you should want to be in this country. And if you want to be in this country, you can have a problem with the country, but to demonstrate against the very thing that is this country, it's you know, like everyone can argue like what the meaning of the flag is and how important it is, but to me it's important. And it's like if you're going to burn the flag, I don't even know what, I don't know. Like I'm on the side of like I think there's certain things like is that authoritarian of me? Maybe. I don't know. But like there's
Would it
certain
be like
things,
weird to just suggest that they leave? Like if you hate it so much?
Yeah,
Go somewhere else.
but then they might argue that like, but I love a future ideal version of this country, and I want to see it become that. That is like predominantly the motif of a lot of people, right?
yeah, the if you don't like America, you can get out is like a dumb fucking.
It's the
or
dumb
very
argument.
fucking dumb.
But in so many ways, it's the right curve, left curve of the argument. Like it's like actually makes sense in a lot of ways. Like if you do actually love the country, can you start by respecting the flag and then demonstrate ideas in which you want to see in the world? I mean, we're kind of back in the Nick Fuentes thing, but it's the same idea. It's like the action is stupid. Like the result of maybe your argument is correct. Maybe I agree with your argument of the flaws, the amount of corruption, like the lobbyists, like all that stuff. You're just frustrated. But like your behavior, I don't know if that's good behavior. I don't know if that's like what we should be doing as people.
yeah, it's just kind of hard
It's too
to.
revolutionary.
It's kind of hard to argue in a country where a bunch of like ragtag rebels literally just vandalized a bunch of property and like started a revolution, that it's not okay to burn the flag, because
Yeah.
like all of this stuff comes that like I sort of agree with like the baseline principle, like one of the baseline founding principles of this country, and one of the reasons that we have like the right to like bear arms is that there is a point where like the government no longer serves the needs of the people in a particular way, and it is legitimate to rise up against it using violence. I would say there's like a particular line where like violence actually is necessary, like you've exhausted all other means and like you are being like oppressed and everything is just totally fucked, and yeah, that's justified. So it's very hard to argue like in a country with that as like one of its founding principles that like no, there's no circumstance where you can like burn the flag. Like that of course like makes no sense. Like I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything inherently like I would never burn a flag. I don't think people should burn the flag. I think it's like terrible. But also like
You want to protect their right because you know that the way this country was founded was on a similar
Revolution.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like
the-
all of the freaking like all of these rights, it's like easy to protect them when it's like stuff that you agree with. Like it's like the whole point of them is like it's like usually it's stuff people don't like, and that's why it needs to be protected. Like I have an issue with like the hypocrisy. Like what I'm more saying is like are Trump's actions justified? And yes, Trump's actions are justified because like you, the other side of this, have basically set this precedent that like I didn't think was good to set in the first place, but now that you've set that precedent, you've like opened up this like Pandora's box where we can justify all of this shit, because like a lot of this like stuff that's come from the left, especially in like the recent decade, has been like kind of like non-first principle stuff. It's sort of just been like, this is the thing that I want to happen, and ergo, I'm just going to bend the will of the Constitution or the law just so that this can happen, right? But if that's the principle, it just means that like once the next guy gets in power, like who's on the opposite side, well, he could just justify doing whatever the fuck he wants to, because none of this is being made from like any sort of like first principles things. And like these people generally like don't like the left, I would say generally speaking, like doesn't like love the Constitution, right? If you were to say like which side likes the Constitution more, right, is like a pretty obvious choice. Obviously there are people in the left who like respect it, but I would say like a lot of the ones with like the true voice and power like in like people's like hearts and minds like do not actually like it. So it's like hard to sympathize when you're like, oh, suddenly you like want to be against Trump doing something because like the Constitution.
That's the idea of progress that is and was so alluring of the left for so long, is like the progressivism when moving the needle in the right direction can be so positive, but when it's used in that reactionary way, in an emotional way, it causes problems. But progress doesn't happen by just sitting on the status quo and saying like the Constitution is perfect as it is.
So I assume you would promote the free market just like you would with Nick Fuentes. You'd say let these people communicate in the way that they would like to, and let society deem whether that is like worthwhile or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, you know. Yeah, I mean, like we're coming up with very basic arguments of what is a great argument for protecting it, you know.
I mean, another simplistic argument for having penalties is like, do you want to live in a society? Would a majority of Americans want to live in a society where there's people burning the flag? And the answer is no. So like, should we have laws to like design things and keep boundaries on things? I would imagine if you poll most Americans, it'd poll like 90% plus. You don't want to live in society where you might come across someone burning the American flag.
Yeah, because people like stability, and it just signals like, oh wow, I'm surrounded by people that just don't even believe
Like, I imagine,
in my ideology.
imagine you move into a new neighborhood and you see an American flag burning, you're like, fuck, my home values. About
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. I prefer there be like societal constraints different from legal
laws.
constraints.
Sure.
Like legal constraints, I feel like should be held to like a higher threshold.
Good
like,
point.
Like a threshold that is a little more.
But we do have societal constraints against burning the flag.
Yeah, and I'm totally good with that. I think that's where I land on it, where it's like I don't want to go walk around and punch somebody in the face. Like Nick said, if I saw somebody burning a flag, I would just probably walk on by because I don't want to get in a fight.
What about instead of penalties for burning the flag, no penalties for someone who physically assaults someone who's burning the flag?
Okay, this is interesting global view. Interesting global view from Tim Timothy. You're labeled a racist for waving an Aussie flag. We're grappling with a major identity crisis here. You're more likely to see every other flag except the Australian one.
Damn,
It's like that in Australia. I think
like
it's
that in
kind of like that in
England.
Canada.
So in England, there's this thing right now where people are like kind of running around, like flying like English flags all over the place on like random like telephone poles and shit, and like people are getting mad. They're like,
But this is the natural last sort of like reaction from a society, globally speaking, that's moving toward isolationism.
I don't know, but like
you
in
have the
the
same exact thing here. There are people who consider the American flag to be like racist or a symbol of like
Definitely.
colonialism.
No, I'm try-
It's the
I'm
same
trying to
thing in Australia.
define-
It's the same thing in England.
I'm trying to define the line of acceptability, because we were like against Nick Fuentes' tribalism, but then we're like promoting it when it comes to our nation, right? Like that's like a form of tribalism, like our nation, and like we want to support that, and I'd want to support Australians waving their own flag, but I don't see that it's that distinctly different from tribalism at large, which is what we were like talking
I don't
against.
think tribalism is inherently bad.
I don't think so either.
Tribalism is just like a basic like human thing that humans do. It has plenty of good elements to it. It probably has more good elements than bad elements, to be honest, by like a lot. So there's like some like nuance in the details of what elements of it make it.
So then
bad.
it comes down to like where do you draw the line of what's acceptable
Yeah,
tribalism?
it's like people say tribalism is bad, diversity is good. But like if you gave me a lot of time to argue, like I could make a pretty convincing argument that generally speaking, diversity is bad and tribalism is good, actually in most cases. But like you can't say that because that steps on
Right.
particular elements of like the cultural zeitgeist, and
But again, there's a way to have an identity.
Yeah, they're
that-
both good,
there's
honestly.
there's a way to have an identity that is consistent in a country where everyone respects a flag and respects the nationalities of the various people that have immigrated to the country. Like most countries have immigrants in them. Like we have very few like fully homogenous societies, like Switzerland or something, right? And they just don't want to let people in, like, or I don't know, fucking Poland, Hungary. And in those societies, like they want to maintain homogeny. But that said, if you put that aside, like there's a way to have both of those coexist at the same time. And I don't see why it's necessary to be labeled a racist for raising the Australian or the American flag, while simultaneously it being okay for Conor McGregor to raise his Irish flag, as he would like to, and being an American at the same time. Like that to me is totally normal. Like you're identifying your nationality, you're identifying your ethnicity, at the same time you're identifying as an American. I think they should coexist. What we have is, again, like the globalist versus isolationist sort of ideology at war, and it's the last sort of fight from the globalists to say, like, we want to eradicate any through line that exists at a national level. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think that it's okay to...
It's a combination of both.
Yeah, it's
That's-
a combination of both.
I mean, my first reaction when I saw the headline that he put these penalties in place was like, oh, that feels like out of an authoritarian playbook. Was like my natural reaction. Not surprised. We knew that like he would kind of let the authoritarian ambitions kind of fly in his second term. But yeah, I don't know. It hit me the wrong way initially, and
But it sounds like there have been some checks and balances along the way against that authoritarian move, based like
yeah, you could argue he's had checks and balances that are too powerful in some cases for the executive
It's
branch.
also not useful to label things as authoritarian, ergo they're bad. Like I would argue there are a lot of things about authoritarianism that are not bad. Like
Right.
on this podcast, we have pontificated like living in Singapore and whether that would be like better and like how nice it seems to be there. Like Singapore is like very authoritarian, right? There are elements of it that like are good and useful. Like all of it isn't bad. It's like a very stupid mental model to be like,
I agree.
oh, everything about this is bad. I just put this label on it. Everything about it is like terrible. Like there are elements of it that are probably good. There are elements of it that are probably good, conditional upon like certain circumstances, which I would say like we probably have to an extent here.
Like
Right.
look at a company that's run by a CEO who's running it in an authoritarian way is actually much better.
I mean, you've
than that.
argued early on that like the best case is like a small family, a benevolent dictator, like a father figure who just kind of lay down the
Yeah,
rules,
you
but
don't
is
run your
in
household as like a freaking democracy.
right.
Let your 3-year-old
Yeah.
have equal vote.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I was living in Chicago right now, I'd be so pro-authoritarian. I'd be like, yeah, bring in the National Guard, and if I see someone burning a flag, like take them out.
Oh, for sure. Like if I live on the south side of Chicago right now, I would be like, send in the tanks, whatever. Just
Wait,
I don't-
what
just
ended up
send 'em in.
happening? What ended up happening in D.C. when they called in? Did they call in the National Guard in D.C.?
It's still kind of early.
Yeah, we want to wait a few months or a month for the crime data to show up because
Oh, so it's they're still deployed.
then they're armed. So
But there's like there's like National Guardsmen like picking up garbage in the park and stuff, and like look, the idea makes sense. The idea that like your national capital would be some freaking crime-ridden like hellhole is like insane. And obviously, I'm doing a little bit of hyperbole there, but like everybody knows that DC has a lot of fucking crime, right? It's not like the worst city in America, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty fucking bad. Like,
guys
why
ever
why
been-
would you want your capital of like the greatest country on earth to be like that?
I
Why
want
shouldn't
all the
entire
cities to
thing
be like that.
That was the point I was going to make.
Yeah,
Like, okay, let's
forget
take
it's a
that as
capital.
like a first experiment, and then like let's just do it again.
What's it called? Like when you have a community group, a community watch? Is that what it is?
Neighborhood
What-
watch.
Neighborhood
Yeah, and I
watch.
was thinking, National Guard group that's not armed would be a great place for like a semi UBI. If AI takes over all the jobs, and we're like, well, we need to give people jobs. Like, cool, we wear this uniform, go pick up the trash, and
I mean, AI
make sure people don't do
robots
bad things.
Yeah,
are
we're gonna
gonna
have robots
police
do that,
everything.
obviously.
So,
Yeah, that's true. Robots will be walking around.
I mean, all of this is solved with, I don't know about, I shouldn't say solved, but solved with this direction with AI robots. How will you guys feel when there's literally AI robots walking around, like telling you what to do?
Yeah,
what you
not
can do.
not feeling good. I
Not
also
feeling
don't
good.
see this future anytime soon. But like, how soon are you envisioning this?
That
I
was
mean,
pretty soon.
there's
Five
security
years.
guard robots already deployed in malls and
We're talking
everywhere.
5 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No
the technology
way.
already exists. It's not like, oh, we need to make new technology. It's just about the
robots
market.
can come to your house next year. That's the
What
idea.
the fuck? I'm not okay.
The little
Tesla,
like
dude.
was it the Star Trek looking robot? RTD
R2D2.
That's
Or-
Star
or-
Wars, my friend.
Star. Oh fuck! Wow.
Blunder.
Yeah. Spent my childhood watching a lot of that. Not doing Kumon.
I think so long as this stuff is confined to like densely populated areas, it's like good. Like I think that like if you live in a densely populated urban area, like you have to accept some higher level of like authoritarianism slash like big government. Like it just makes sense. Like if you pack a bunch of humans together and want them to coexist, right? But you still have to have the optionality to go outside of that system, right? If you start going into like a suburban area outside the city and like your phone's being monitored and there's robots everywhere and you can't escape, like then it's like definitely bad. But I feel like if you have cities that are pretty freaking techno-authoritarian, right? But then there's just different implementations of that, and you have like a free market of techno-authoritarianism across all the cities. Like, what's going to end up happening is like the city that goes full Singapore is going to end up having like low crime and all this stuff. And
30 million
are,
people
and
move to
people
it.
are going to be like, huh. I mean, it sounds kind of good. I don't like all the labels that, but like, I don't want to get stabbed and stuff. And so I suspect that if we were to run this experiment, those cities would like get more people and they would thrive more.
I mean, the trickiest part of this is when the government changes hands, right? And you still have the same measures in place, and you have a non-benevolent or just like someone who's just crooked or you disagree with
Yeah.
the same kind of measures already in place.
or when like you just don't have like optionality, right? You can't like vote with your feet. Like being able to vote with your feet is very important. Like if all this is done at a federal level, top down everywhere, and like you can't escape it, then it's bad. It's very bad.
Like,
Yeah.
would you want
wouldn't
AOC
wanna- I wouldn't
bringing in
wanna
the
have to-
National Guard to like, protect whatever thing she determines?
What's that?
Would you want President AOC bring in the National Guard to protect whatever she thinks is important?
Well, I think in a federalist system, the way that this country is originally designed, like I don't think an AOC could come in with the National Guard in like every single city and every single it just like, wouldn't happen. Like there would be particular states that like you'd have like a Texas start rising up. So like I wouldn't be okay with it, but I also just don't even think that's like a feasible. It's not even like a feasible thing. Like I am totally fine with like cities that like wants to basically go like full communism and see what happens. Like that's fine. Like as long as like people can leave that city and go elsewhere.
No, I don't like
you
that
know?
either. I mean, nobody wants to vote with their feet like every 4 years.
Yeah,
Like,
but we can't like sit here at a national level and tell cities like what to do and like tell like states like how to govern themselves. Like I think the states and cities should just largely be able to govern themselves like the way that they want to, which is why like I don't know, like I'm very okay with Trump doing the National Guard takeover of DC. Like I don't know if I'm okay with the federal government just coming into LA and clean, even though I would like for that to happen. Like
So you don't think they should go into Chicago?
I don't think it's like a good precedent. No, I don't. But like I could see why it is sort of justified in a particular way, right? And you could draw like an extreme conclusion, right? Like say one state just goes completely off the rails and it basically just becomes like entirely inhabited by like a hostile foreign government effectively. Like so many people emigrate there. There's like no checks on like
Yeah.
cultural assimilation and it basically just becomes this like foreign state like within the states. Then if you go to some extreme, you could construct a scenario where like, yeah, it's actually probably in the national interest for the National Guard to come in and just not have like some sleeper cell or something like like controlling like an entire like American city or like
Right.
an entire American state. I don't
That's different.
think
yeah.
we're there yet, but like, so I don't want to say like there's no circumstance where that should ever happen, but like it is a sketchy precedent.
All right, you guys want to talk about government equity stakes?
yeah, it's kind of like on the same topic. in
Yeah,
a way.
similar vein. Yeah, the U.S. is a proud owner of 10% of Intel. Looks like it was negotiated over a meeting. I think Trump said the CEO was worried about losing his job, so we made a deal, and now we own 10%. And on one side you could think of it as like, oh, we're being like super capitalist in the ways like he's running it like a company, so it feels capitalist. But then the other side you could be like, well, this is kind of like
Sort of
Chinese
like China.
capitalism. Yeah.
State-owned enterprises.
State-owned enterprises.
Mm.
So
I mean, first of all, Intel chart looks great. I actually took a look at it before this, and I was like,
Okay, that was one of
Kinda
my
wanna
first
just
thoughts. I was like,
max long this thing.
I was like, is the middle curve to look at like adjacent companies, or is it just to buy Intel?
Intel
buy-
just looks like a free 2x.
buy Intel because
Looks
like
amazing.
his adjacent ones, like competitors, could be handicapped now.
No, I don't mean competitors. I mean suppliers.
Oh, okay.
I really like ASML.
I feel like you're overthinking this, though.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I feel like that's middle
This is-
curve.
This is some straight fancy play syndrome here.
Uh huh.
I think you just buy Intel. I mean, do any of you think this is like a bad idea?
I think it's a bad idea in the same way that you just talked about, like setting a precedent. Like, I don't want the government just like playing hedge fund. It's not set up to do that. In this particular use case, I think it's pretty smart.
Because it relates to national security, or
Yeah.
no?
The
That's-
national
that's
security
where-
concern. So we've talked about it before on previous pods, particularly the one where we looked at Palmer Luckey's podcast. Just a quick history for you guys. Like back when I started studying like the semiconductor industry, this was like back when like 3G was converting to 4G. This was like 2010-ish. Like all the big companies during that time were converting to like a fabless model. So like they would outsource all of their manufacturing to foundry, and that was like most prominently Taiwan Semiconductor. And I think like Palmer Luckey described how that's like backed us into a corner, relying on somebody else to manufacture the shit that we really need. And like to say that we need semiconductors now, I think is important, but like really looking forward is what I'm concerned with. Because like right now we use advanced chips for like smartphones, but like maybe in the future we need advanced chips for military weaponry or something.
But-
So
outside of that national security, you think it's still a bad precedent? And continue with your history.
okay, well, like so another piece of this history is like, has the U.S. government ever taken over equity in companies before? And there have been several times where they have. the global financial crisis, the government bailed out banks, and they took some equity positions in the form of warrants on major banks. They have bailed out like GM. Like the
Can you explain
gentleman-
warrants real quick? Is it any different than just getting granted equity? It's like, is it like an option?
It's like a debt security with upside,
Okay.
equity upside. So they've taken over banks in the form of warrants. They've taken over GM in the past. I think there's some other examples I'm forgetting right now, but in any case, like all of these examples in the past, the government had taken over these businesses during a period of like distress and wanted to like help them because they're like systematically important. And Intel, I don't know that you could argue that Intel is like in distress or systematically important. I mean, the company is languishing, but it's not like.
You could argue it should be systemically important if they were doing a good job. Ideally, it would be because they were.
Yeah, so I feel like the government's actually looking for the upside on this one, not the downside, meaning like how can we bring foundry business domestically and like unburden ourselves from relying on foreign entities.
So I think at first glance that makes sense, but there's obviously second order consequences, right? Like Intel is incentivized to make the shareholders happy, get returns for the shareholders. Now you have a shareholder who's a government, which is a different type of like entity. You know, they're not just buying equity; they have now influence on the company that could diverge away from the shareholders. But maybe it's good in that case. They would diverge the incentives away when it's important for national security. But you could obviously see the incentives aren't necessarily aligned there. So, I mean, do you see any like second order consequences?
Well, from what I've read, they're like trying to mitigate those conflicts of interest by saying like we are not going to take a board seat, we're not going to be involved in your daily operations. We're just giving you a grant from our CHIPS Act that was unallocated, but in return for this grant, we want to get something. And I think that makes sense in a way, like better than just giving a grant for nothing.
Yeah.
It seems like the Trump like deal maker type move. Like if you're going to give taxpayer money, you might as well get something on the upside. So I kind of like that, but I just don't want the government to now just start doing that because then you like end up picking winners. You put your thumb on the scale. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there is good. I kind of agree. I think I agree with. Okay, if we give you debt to save you, warrants seem to be like those are good in that scenario. In the case where like Tesla got credits and tax
Tesla
credits,
was, yeah.
and so that'd be another scenario. Obviously, you're kind of cherry picking there. The government would have made a lot of money. I don't think they necessarily picked a winner because they gave that opportunity to everyone. There were loans that they got that Tesla paid back early. Warrants would have been great in that scenario. The grants is a different thing. I guess it's like a grant that's not necessarily free. Comes at actual cost.
I don't think I like the idea of giving grants to private for-profit businesses to begin with. Like, you should give a grant to maybe try to achieve some impact, but that impact shouldn't be like profit for someone. And I think that's how the government typically operates. You don't just like give grants to companies.
Yeah, I guess if there's no actual board control, that makes more sense because I'd be worried about, okay, what happens when the government changes hands and you have like a kind of anti-capitalist sentiment from the White House and they own some kind of controlling stake. And I guess also the argument that, this is state-sponsored capitalism kind of goes away if they don't have control because in a lot of cases, China, does state-sponsor capitalism. They provide debt, they provide equity, they provide land for free a lot of times, but they kind of have this golden vote where, they can override a lot of larger company directions.
Do you feel like the government operating like for its own national security is legit? Like,
I mean, I think the bigger question is like, should we have an industrial policy in the U.S.? Should we say, okay, these sectors of the economy we need to win at? And you can make strong arguments that, yeah, there's obviously sectors that you could call out, energy, batteries, AI, semiconductors, where you want the U.S. to win long term. And so, well, how do you actually construct that? And in that case, you kind of have to pick some winners and you're going to have losers. And so I think the bigger question is, should the government decide which industries to incentivize, whether it's through tax credits, equity grants, whatever the vehicle is.
Oh, here's another one. World War II.
Mhm.
Didn't we like mandate that factories transition into like building war
Like
Like,
ammunition
yeah,
or whatever it is. Like, hey,
tank
Ford,
stuff?
you're gonna now make tanks.
Yeah, I mean that's a time of crisis, but then maybe you could argue that like
They also got paid for it too. It's not like they did it for free. So they
but
got a big contract.
but they didn't take equity in Ford. So I sort of like the equity component. I think that is maybe superfluous though, because like
They also made, I think I saw Lutnick make an argument that they want to take their big vendors, the government vendors. So he mentioned Palantir as a thing like, hey, we're going to do a lot of business with you. I don't necessarily want a discount. I don't want like a good rate, but I want upside. I want equity. If we're going to be your largest client, we want upside too. And that's maybe where it starts
gets
feeling
so
weird, right? Like,
Yeah,
and I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to like pack up a sovereign wealth fund of equity, and maybe they cash out at some point, and then you can use it for other things. But
right. But then so yeah, I agree with you. That I think they are creating the sovereign wealth fund. It's crazy that like the sovereign wealth fund starts with Intel, not Bitcoin, like we had predicted.
and don't forget that debt column in the balance sheet of the U.S. Just
Right.
look at this assets of the
Okay,
wealth
so
fund.
the Palantir one really scares me because when you're the biggest client, like now you have like a massive conflict of interest as like an equity holder and the biggest client.
Good point. That's where a big conflict of interest comes in.
Yeah.
Because not only are you have leverage as a client, but you have leverage
But then
as a shareholder.
I saw some takes on Twitter that were saying
Is
like,
that a conflict of interest?
It feels like it, because you
Well, you
might
said
have
that
specific needs as
yeah.
a client, and you could use both your equity
Mm-hmm.
holder position and your, you're the biggest part of their AR.
it's a massive
Yeah.
conflict of interest.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay, so I saw another take on Twitter that was saying something like, how about Walmart, for instance? Walmart earns 4% of their revenue from like EBT and SNAP payments. And what if the government says like, hey, well, we're providing you this revenue, now give us a little kickback? And this is like the slippery slope I'm talking about. I don't want to just like have our government sort of just like own all of our businesses too.
Yeah, but like, this is kind of the logical conclusion of what happens when you kind of stray too far away from the free market, right? Like,
Yeah, I guess we're seeing it.
so I've always had this thing with like the wealth tax, for example, where like I don't like wealth taxes and I think that they're kind of stupid, but at the same time, they also make a lot of sense because most of the I don't want to say most of, but like an enormous amount of the wealth that has been created in this country over the last 20, 30 years has been created as like a direct result of the government like putting their thumbs on the scales in particular ways and blowing asset bubbles or like blessing particular industries and regulatory capture, like whatever it is, like the government has created wealth for a specific set of entities, individuals, and picked winners.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to support a wealth tax, like, is it a more direct way to get the money from like the asset holders, like that you kind of blew a bubble in, not because like they were brilliant or made incredible decisions, but because you, the government, like printed money or passed dumb laws or regulations? Like, isn't it just a better way to recoup some of that money by just
more
having the
direct.
government like own a part of the thing that you basically gave the upside in? Like,
That's interesting.
So
'cause
then, should NVIDIA get paid by the government when they restrict sales to China because they're like putting the finger on the scale in the opposite direction?
I don't think you should get paid by the government for following the laws of the government. But if like the government like creates like an unfair marketplace in
Hold
some
on,
way
how is
that
that
you
not
get
creating
to
an
thrive,
unfair marketplace? They can sell in the free market to anyone. China wants their chips, and U.S. government says, no, you can't sell any chips to China.
but nobody can sell chips to China. If the government passed a law where it was like, okay, NVIDIA, you get to be the only one who sells these chips to China because we're able to kind of like vet this process in some way, then you would be creating an unfair advantage for NVIDIA because they get to have like the section
I
of
mean,
the
you
market
definitely don't
that
want
nobody else
that,
does.
right? Where government owns a
Well,
stake in NVIDIA
what
only, and
What you'll probably see is that they'll let Intel sell chips to China because they have a 10%
that
ownership
you definitely
stake.
don't want, right? Because then you're just going further down the rabbit hole of like manipulating the market.
Yeah, it's definitely not clean. I mean, I like everybody's kind of doing this thing on finance Twitter, right? Where it's just like, is this socialism? And honestly, I think to say that this is socialism is kind of like fucking mid. Like this is not socialism, but it's also obviously not pure capitalism. But it's different, and obviously, this can go very badly if the government is like doing particular things to like wreck competitors of Intel, anti-competitive practices, and you're hurting like the market. But if we agree that like we need these industries anyway, if we agree that the market does not provide for these industries and that this is like a useful, thing the government can do, a thing the government needs to do, and so if you follow that down the rabbit hole, then the government has to give money away in these particular areas because like the market has decided it's not viable to like produce this stuff in the US. So if you want the market to produce this stuff in the US, you do have to subsidize it, and subsidizing it means you're taking money from the taxpayers and giving it to the corporation. So like if you follow all of that logic down the rabbit hole, doesn't it just make sense that the taxpayers get a slice of the pie?
You could easily add on to that argument. And if you look at it through like a very specific lens, is like, okay, our competition is China. They have state-sponsored capitalism-ish. They are choosing industrial winners, and they're picking industries where we want to win at. So is this just a competitive necessity now? Forget the taxpayers and the consequences down the road. Like, you have to win this battle now. So is this just a competitive necessity to balance out China, who, obviously make sure some of their companies win for the like long-term 50-year plan?
I agree, and this is why I like Intel as a one-off, where we don't go down this path any further. Intel is the lone foundry that's domestic based. Well, we have like smaller ones, but it's the big three are TSMC, Samsung, and Intel. And Intel has been lagging in like the most advanced chips, like the 3 nanometer and below chips. Intel just doesn't compete there, and I think for the government to say like, now you will, and you will take this money. And I actually think it's pretty good, but I wanted to stop right there.
Well, I mean, is it any different than, for example, does the government really need an equity stake? Does it really need a board seat to direct industrial policy? I mean, boardroom shake if the president tweets about their industry, let alone their actual company. Like, they go running to the White House to be like, oh shit, you said something about my company. So do they really need all that to just direct it in the way they want?
Well, it's not about directing it. The government has to like put capital out. So in exchange for putting that capital out, doesn't it make sense to get something back for the taxpayer? Otherwise, you're just taking money from particular taxpayers and you're putting it in the pockets of like shareholders of this company, who otherwise would not be getting that money because the market wouldn't be giving them that money, right?
I mean, they're still doing that. The only way to avoid it is to become a shareholder yourself. So let's buy Intel.
So what do you think if it's a guarantee that it's not the one and done situation?
They've said
but they're not still doing that to the same extent, because if the government owns the company and the government gives taxpayer dollars, then the taxpayers own the company, right? So there's like a more direct relationship with like tax money
I guess
goes
that money
out
will be
and then
like
revenue
refunneled
comes
back
in.
into society.
Yeah.
But
what was Intel's stock price reaction? Did anyone notice?
it didn't really move. It
Really?
didn't
Hasn't
move
done much.
It didn't move as much as you would think.
Because like we've often regretted when we don't ask the question. So how do you make money off this?
Okay, can we ask that question
Yeah,
directly?
let's talk about it, because this is
Okay, so
government just took an equity stake, so it seems bullish.
okay, so I have like a propensity to mid-curve moments like this, and maybe the mid-curviest of all responses was mine when I said, okay, the U.S. government wants Intel to be competitive with Taiwan Semi. What's the difference? The difference between these two companies is like skill and expertise, but on like the equipment side, they don't have the latest, greatest high NA EUV lithography machines from ASML. They cost about $500 million each,
Cool.
and allows you to make the most advanced chips. Intel didn't have that.
Right.
So I was thinking that with that money from the government, that's probably the first thing they're going to buy, and that money goes straight to ASML.
Do we know how much they got by any chance?
I saw that as a part of the CHIPS Act, it was like X amount of dollars. It was billions, but I
Right.
don't remember how much
I
exactly.
mean, they need they need liquidity.
Yeah.
So
I mean, on the downside, like the other part of me was thinking, like, should I just buy Intel? Like the downside is Intel has been down only since I followed them in the .com bubble.
versus it was Intel versus AMD. That battle.
Like Intel is like the worst run company on earth. So
They've had like 2 or 3 CEOs in the last
Yeah.
year and a half. I feel like.
Just another new one.
Yeah.
recently.
What does ASML do?
ASML
lithography.
sells the machine that the foundries use to make the advanced chips.
ASML Holdings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
A Dutch company.
it's Dutch.
Yeah.
And they have a monopoly. They're the only company in the world that can make this really advanced machine that's used for really advanced chips. So like there's an important nuance here. If if like the government wants us to be competitive in like chip making at large, like generally, then that could mean like chip making for like a smart refrigerator, a smart washer. Those are not advanced chips. We can like Intel can make those already. But if we want to like go to the bleeding edge, which like the bleeding edge is not even like that interesting, I think right now, but I think it's interesting when you forecast forward because right now it just means like a better smartphone. But like, what about when we move forward into a future with like, how about Armand's glasses? How about those glasses like with zero latency can tell you in real time exactly what you're looking at and give you like amazing feedback, like way better than what we're expecting right now.
Sorry, would Intel be a direct NVIDIA competitor or not necessarily?
No, because like all of these devices, like these end user devices, include 4 chips essentially. Like you have a CPU, a GPU, a modem, and a memory chip.
Okay.
And there's like different designers throughout that whole system. So like NVIDIA designs the GPU, Intel designs the CPU, Apple designs their own CPU. The baseband, like the modem, is like Qualcomm and Broadcom.
Okay.
And the memory is Micron and a few others. But like all of those guys outsource the manufacturing to the foundries. The foundry is like TSMC, Samsung, and Intel. So I think depending on what direction we want to like put our thumb on the scale, I would assume that the government wants to influence us to be competitive at the bleeding edge. Because like I'm assuming the bleeding edge is going to get way more interesting beyond smartphones. Like it's
Right.
going to get to AI stuff. It's going to get to like
Robotics.
military. Like how about a drone that flies for endless time and it's the size of a bumblebee? Like how about something like that? Like of course you'd need a chip that is like very low power usage, small form factor, really powerful,
And you want it manufactured in the U.S.
and you want to manufacture in the U.S. So like you would need like a 2 nanometer.
Yeah, you're
awesome
gonna look
chip.
back like a decade from now and be like, well, that was like the turning moment for Intel, where the turnaround kicked off.
Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, you look at like Steven could look at this, like the TSMC chart is awesome. Like over like 10 years, it's awesome, but it like is pretty lame. It's kind of meh compared to like what Nvidia has done or what Broadcom has done. So like the designer of the chip actually makes more money anyways. So like, are we maybe just like missing the forest for the trees?
You bought the like lower margin
Yeah.
portion of the value chain.
Right. I actually think Nvidia is still the answer.
Yeah. Okay. Should we buy some leaps just for fun?
Well, they reported earnings today, and
what'd you think?
I think it's fucking crazy that a company that's $4.5 trillion of market cap can still grow 50% in net profit on a year-over-year basis.
That's insane.
That's insane.
And that the market can go down.
And then and they can trade down a few dollars. But like this thing trading at 40 times earnings, like a 40 PE multiple, like in a market environment like this where like the S&P is trading at like 25 times, like this is insane to me. Nvidia's cheap. Nvidia is like the no-brainer. Like if they can continue to compound earnings like they have been, which I think they can. I don't follow it as closely as Armand, but I know that Jensen just said that he expects $3 to $4 trillion of AI capex through 2030.
So break that down then. So a trillion or 80% of that trillion goes to Nvidia.
Yeah, imagine it's a
year.
trillion a year, and 80% of that's going to Nvidia. Some of that leaks out to TSMC because they're fabricating it. Some of it leaks out to ASML because they're like making the machines for the fabricators. But like all of that capex essentially goes to Nvidia.
And our friend who does these capex investments in what was it, like the not a server farm, the
solar.
So yeah, the solar farms that feed these GPU like warehouses, massive warehouses, said 10% of it goes to like the actual rig of setting up this warehouse and getting the energy, and then 80-90% of it still goes to Nvidia.
Just buying GPUs, man.
Yeah, just buying GPUs. Is it really trade at 40x? That's it?
40x.
And so
40x trailing.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking. If you go 40x trailing, but you're growing earnings 50% a year, if you can compound that for just a few years, like you've got like a very cheap stock.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to sell all of my Bitcoin ETF for NVIDIA and Tesla.
Ooh.
I'm just kind of grown disenchanted with Bitcoin, to be honest.
That's a pretty hot take. That's a
Yeah,
hot
I was
take
like,
from
is this
Steven.
in the most recent Magic Lines newsletter?
I still own a lot of Bitcoin, but like, I just
So a portion of it. You're not saying all of it.
everything in my brokerage account.
No, it's funny.
I just think generally I own too much crypto and not enough of that, or definitely too much Bitcoin, not enough of that. I don't know, man. It's like the main shtick about it is this sort of like debasement thing, but like that all of that value kind of flows through to stocks
Absolutely.
as well. So
Stocks
it's like,
participate in the debasement as well.
yeah, it's not like Nvidia doesn't go up more when we debase the currency,
Yep.
So
Okay, here's what I actually had this similar thought, and I envy you at how quick you are to just like pivot like on a dime with like your net worth, because I'm like much more slow moving. But like what I was thinking was Bitcoin's returns are going to diminish over time, right? That's like basically the log curve. Nvidia's doesn't have to. Like Nvidia's might accelerate even. Like we might be in the early stages of AI, not the late stage. I actually think we're in the early innings. I sound like Tom Lee, but I actually am okay with that because, like, what does AI do for us currently? It's a fucking chatbot. Like, what will it do? It's
Everything.
everything.
eventually, my current concern with AI is that it's going to cause like a gigantic fucking recession before it gets to the point where it does a lot of stuff.
Well, Nvidia's still going to be getting paid throughout that recession, though.
Well, I think.
I don't.
The multiple could come down.
I don't.
Do you think that the recession would follow a massive bubble?
Well, what I worry about happening is like I just worry about just mass layoffs due to AI, right? And like I think we see that happening. Somebody, I think Nick, I forgot if it's Nick Carter, but posted like a really interesting chart, just showing like layoffs by like particular age cohorts and stuff. And it's just like if you look at like the young people,
The entry
like,
level jobs are.
you could just see they're getting nuked. Like
Yeah.
they're definitely getting nuked. So like if all these people are getting laid off and they're not in the real economy spending money, but then like if you look at like AI productivity gains, like not really there yet, right? So if you don't have like productivity gains and then you have a bunch of people getting laid off, then what happens eventually? You have a bubble that pops, you have like an actual recession.
Yeah, I guess in that scenario, the bubble, we'd be in the bubble right now, and we'd be kind of late stages of the bubble, and it would pop.
Yeah. And then when it did pop, it would be kind of dangerous because like the Fed would follow a playbook that like wouldn't work anymore because like we're not in this kind of like
why wouldn't, first of all, who are these people that don't get productivity gains from AI? But why
Who are these people that you speak of?
Why would Nvidia not keep accruing value?
well, like to answer your first question, I mean, there's been a lot of people doing, like kind of analysis on this, and there's
It's
not
all
like
bogus.
There's like the
I don't-
MIT study that said 95% of companies invested in AI
Garbage.
have a
It's the
zero
most
ROI.
hogwash study I've ever seen in my life. By the
Yeah.
way, no
Okay.
one has even seen the study.
Yeah,
You're right. I haven't seen it. I just saw the
No
headline.
one has seen this.
I don't think you have to rely on studies.
Fortune
I think
wrote
you
an
can
article,
you can
and
look at the
that's
raw
all that happened.
capex invested into AI, and you can look at like earnings and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
I don't. There's not like a lot of.
Okay, so like I think it doesn't have to be a recession so much as like the bubble, like the music would stop if Jensen's saying something like we're expecting $1 trillion a year in capex for data center through 2030, and then it comes out 2 years from now that like nobody's spending money on it anymore because they're not seeing that it's like worthwhile.
I mean, all you need is from 2030 to 2032, him saying it's going to fall
So
off.
from a first principles perspective, the real thing that's going to throttle this is AI productivity, but then one step before that is like, are we going to get step function improvements in the models, in the frontier models with an LLM architecture? And right now, that's starting to look bearish.
right.
Like there needs to be an innovation.
yeah,
It's too incremental right now, you saying?
Yeah, I mean, look, like there's so much discussion about like GPT-5, right? Like it's obviously a great model, but people were expecting more.
yeah, I agree. I think I'm exactly with you that like GPT 6 and 7 are not going to be that exciting.
With
give me
this architecture.
like give me the next thing
Well,
that
the
AI
transformer
does.
model was never going to lead to AGI. So, and I mean, maybe that was like the intention of some people, but it's just, it's not what's going to get us there. So, like,
Like,
is that actually
yeah.
the underlying thing that's going to pin this whole?
And do you know
flow?
if it wasn't like a transformer model, would another way of doing this other than an LLM forward model, would it still require GPUs?
Sure.
Do you know?
Sure.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm not an expert at that, but like, sure, of course, because like what's powering all of the data training that across the entire internet, like as a whole, would still continue to exist to create each new version of the model. But it's not that's the problem. It's just the architecture that's
So
limiting. As
I,
a
I
constraint.
actually have like a
Yeah, I agree with that.
I have a question that's more like foundational. Like, do you believe that like the LLM is the AI, or do you believe that AI is like maybe like a way to organize and process data much more effectively? Because I don't think that I'm going to preface it by saying that I don't know that just like improving an LLM and then packaging it differently, like inside of a humanoid shaped robot, is like necessarily the breakthrough. I think of it as like an LLM is like a first use case of AI, and then there will be other use cases that we're not imagining. Similar to how like the internet, we didn't imagine that we'd be like on sharing photos on Instagram, but it started as like here's it's
Yeah.
websites, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on AI for 60 years. And then we had machine learning that started to become valuable in like medicine, for example, precision medicine. But then generative AI was a new wave. And I think we need to have a new architecture that creates that step function improvement change. And so, no, I don't think that changing the form factor is the answer. I think it's actually like an architecture change that needs to occur.
Can we go back to what Steven said about like the AI bull case and a recession? So I guess I'm still a little confused. Like if there was a recession via layoffs, via unemployment, why wouldn't there still be massive demand for GPUs? Because imagine, okay, there's like 7 big companies that are really purchasing a lot of these GPUs, and the reason they're laying off people is because they're having massive productivity gains. They
Yeah,
clearly see the ROI
I think it would
for
only increase.
So yeah, I guess
no, but you're drawing like a okay, like there is a world where a company can get like wildly more efficient, but like the demand, like they still have to sell a product to an end consumer who has money.
Right, I
to buy
agree.
the
I agree about that.
product.
But look at the business models of like let's say Facebook and Google. It's advertising, and yes, during recessions, advertising
Gets
can
nuked.
go down. But if their algorithms get more efficient, and they can still earn more for less. I don't know.
To an extent, like if everybody on Facebook doesn't have any money to buy products anymore, there's no ad revenue.
So that's not necessarily true if the compute, the inference, and the GPUs are being utilized toward agents that are doing the work. Like, I don't need a consumer I have a field and an army of agents and organizations at an enterprise level that are doing the work that humans were doing before. That'll only accelerate.
But who's
He's
where is
still-
where is your
The
money
productivity
coming from?
is coming from in the organization.
But he's saying that that's true, but then okay, all those people that got replaced by agents, like our economies like derived from the everything eventually is derived
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
consumer.
Okay, so like they need to deliver a good eventually of some kind.
yeah.
Yeah, but those goods are sometimes
Yeah, because one
software.
person's spending is another person's income, right? So like if somebody's spending gets cut, then
But you could make Armand's case. Let's say revenue goes down, but margins shoot through the roof, and their
Yeah,
earnings
that's a
are,
really
are
complex
going.
equation.
No, I actually agree with Steven on this, and more from like a market perspective, like multiples can just contract massively. Like in a recession, like everything can be sort of like looking bullish on a per company basis, but then you just have like a massive pullback where like beta hits everything.
Even if Nvidia is still seeing earnings increase, or even their customers are still seeing earnings increase, 20% a
well,
year or whatever.
Their customers. I question this idea that customers are going to see earnings continue to increase like at anywhere near the rate that the market is pricing that they need
Well,
to
so
increase.
you're
Like if people don't
considering
have any money to spend on
Usage
stuff.
on a consumer level will go exponential as well. So like maybe you have a smaller cohort of people that can spend money, but the ones that can spend money are going to spend 10 times more money than they ever could before. At the same time, I understand that cost of compute and everything is going to continue dropping, but we're just going into a hyper productivity universe.
But
Like everything-
productivity for the sake of what? Like if you
for the sake of this,
that's a different
For
argument,
the
but
sake
yeah,
of
I
this
get you.
utopian vision of like freedom where people don't have to do anything.
Yeah, but like stocks are driven by earnings. Earnings come from revenues. Revenues come from some end consumer paying for a product.
And
that
eventually,
end
the
consumer
government's going to
needs to
fund
have
your ability
money.
to pay for that
Steven,
product.
what if the margins go from 10% to 20% because of this productivity?
There
And
is-
you
there
have a
is-
30% drop in
there is
revenue, your earnings are still growing.
Absolutely no world, Nick, where 50% of like the typical avatar of like a Silicon Valley employee suddenly gets laid off throughout the entire country, and your margins doubling like don't cause everything to crater. Like there's just no world where that doesn't happen, And I just worry that like these like. So you
This
guys
is all leading to a world in which a lot of people won't have to work. You have to consider that, like
Yeah, but
that-
you're
where the dollars are gonna
you're
come
going too far down the road. Right now, I'm worried about like there's all this like path dependency in what you're saying, where like it goes down, and then it goes up, and then it goes higher.
So you're
all
just
I'm worried about
this
right now
phase.
is like
Yeah.
I'm worried about like there's like a point at some time in the next 6 to 24 months where your Bitcoin portfolio goes like negative 90%, right? And then like at the point your Bitcoin portfolio is down negative 90%, you're not going to be like, yes, but 10 years from now we'll live in this like post-economic society. You're just going to be like, holy fuck,
our
what the hell
margins are up.
happened?
Yeah,
And I
earnings
worry,
are up.
I worry about this, like especially with something like Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin has literally never existed in a recession. Like there hasn't been a recession since like 2008. Like there hasn't been like an actual organic recession in the entire history of Bitcoin. Like we don't know what's going to happen when that comes, and something tells me that like some magic internet money is not going to just keep going up when like if there's like a crisis. And like you saw, I assume you saw like Nano Banana.
Nope.
New
Google-
image generator. It allows you to
Nano
Yeah, it's like
Banana?
it's actually they did a good job. So they didn't put it in like the fucking lab. I think it is in the labs, but it's not like Google branded. It's like it's got its own little brand, its own product, and it works. We were playing with it today.
Yeah.
You can put products in the hands of people, and the product still stays the same.
So much
It's
shit, man.
yeah.
Yeah, like so
My
you
God.
change somebody's the face transfers a different thing, like all these things that were problems like a week ago, they're like not problems anymore. And like you're looking in like the design and the video space, right? And in the span of like what has been like I don't know like 3 months, like basically an entire industry is multiple entire industries have been like completely nuked. Like what you can do now in video and like graphic design and photography, it's like and the video is the craziest thing, right? Because you think about like what you used to go into like making like a Pixar movie, and now like a kid in his basement can just talk through the Pixar, like that's fucking.
We had a
insane.
moment in here today, and where I was like, "Oh, it's finally here." A year ago, it was promised amazing efficiencies, and our creative director created a video that would have cost $12,000 to shoot in like that. And
I imagine in
it's-
your line of work, like this stuff is probably just
Yeah.
like an absolute
I love that you
incredible
guys-
game changer.
Yeah.
it was cool today. We were like, he was like, "You guys have to look at this." We all gathered around the laptop and we're like,
That's crazy that it was today.
Yeah.
"Yeah." I mean, we've been like, we're still in this like uncanny valley where you're like, it's kind of like the product doesn't look
So does
real.
it work with VO?
He didn't use it for that. Like he's got a weird workflow. It's not like all in one product. He creates an object and maybe uses something in Midjourney, and then he goes to GPT, give me
Yeah.
a prompt for VO. Then he somehow inserts the object into VO so that the character can use the object. And sure enough, he got it to work. And I was like, holy fuck.
So
That was like a
hard.
studio shoot, hiring actors, going through talent,
Jeez.
4 weeks, 12 grand,
Yeah.
ready to
definitely.
rock.
Midjourney is getting a bunch of money from Meta, which is
Dude, all this capex spend is going to be insane. Like
Eric's getting greedy over here.
we've been talking about the sideshow for too long, crypto. The real show is AI.
So, I guess how do we know if this, unemployment recession is coming? Because we saw it last episode. I think we talked about, or maybe it was 2 episodes ago, talked about the youth unemployment, or I guess we were talking about college-educated men getting out of college and having high unemployment rates. And to me, that's like just the start of potentially those entry-level jobs getting replaced. And so you see high youth unemployment, and then maybe it just kind of like cascades.
Credit is probably the canary in the coal mine, credit-based stuff.
Draw that out for me. I don't
Well,
make
people
sense.
lose their jobs, right? And then they need to keep doing things, so they borrow, and particular metrics start going through the roof. And then, maybe as like the amount of debt in the economy in these particular private areas starts like growing, you start seeing like spreads kind of like widening in particular areas that look like they're kind of getting stretched. And the reason credit is like such a gnarly thing is because like we live in this sort of like the entire economy is debt based. Like everything is predicated upon this like monetary supply that just like perpetually expands and is grounded in nothing, right? So when there's a contraction in that, like we see what happens to like risk assets when everybody who listens to the show gets that money supply up, risk assets up, money supply down, risk assets down. Like, and when you have like credit sort of destroyed within an economy, like if you have like if you take out like a huge loan and you don't pay back that loan, that's like money destroyed. That's a balance sheet ruined over here. That's spending not happening in your area. That's employees that get laid off there, and then it just sets off.
But
this,
we
like,
really
chain
haven't had like
reaction.
this like credit based cycle, right?
Been
It's
a
been an
long time.
income based cycle. Like we haven't had like credit is not, max levels.
No, right now, I agree that right now everything still looks like melt up city, but I'm like trying to think beyond.
Yeah,
that.
and then like I agree with you. And then once we think, okay, so we get this reflexive down move because you get like erosion in credit, and then you get erosion in capital markets. Capital markets are like the major source of liquidity because like you can borrow against assets to buy more assets. So when everything goes down, you get this massive reflexive move down. It would probably look something like when we started investing in like .com bubble. It would look fucking horrendous. But then that also would be like the best time to invest.
But you would be in a less likely mental state to invest if you just lost 40% of your equity portfolio.
Yeah, I mean
40% would be generous.
that'd be like a soft landing.
That'd be a
But
flush loan,
I
just-
also think that this is like a good opportunity to use isolated leverage while maintaining cash. The way to do that is to use options.
Got you.
I think the play of here is like if stuff just gets like up and up and up and up, I think you just DCA profits into like a triple levered dollar euro ETF probably, because I think if everything like totally explodes,
Pass. I'm out. This is that's already too complicated for me.
I mean, have fun staying poor, I guess. Have fun getting poor.
Yeah, getting bored.
getting for.
Oh,
But
God.
like, it's like, what else do you buy in this sort of like type of event? Because the type of event like we're talking about happening, right? These sort of credit event, like
You buy the dollar when there's deflation.
The dollar
yeah,
is like
all
the
risk assets correlate to one. Everything goes down.
dollar goes up.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound fun.
No,
we'll be ready.
it won't be fun. It'll especially not be fun if it happens like in the fourth year of like a Trump presidency, because then the next administration is going to swing wildly towards like.
I have a question from the peanut gallery. Should I buy a house right now, or is it a bad time? I was thinking it might be a good time. Is it a bad? It sounds like it's a bad time. Good time because interest rates are higher. They've been high for 3 years. All the buyers have been on the sidelines waiting for rates to come down. We know that rates are going to come down, but they haven't yet. So when everyone's going to mortgage, it's still unaffordable. But if you're able to suck it up, put more down, suck up the highest interest payment, if you're in the ability to do so, you kind of, and when interest rates go down and buyers come back, those asset prices are going to go up, and you lock in
you
a lower
refinance,
cost
yeah.
basis at a lower property tax amount, and you refi later. But if we're going to go into an unemployment recession,
interesting.
that
Yeah,
shit's
but-
all off the table.
Yeah, but like if your worry is that it's not a good time to buy a house because this is going to happen, you're basically saying like, I'm going to time the market. And if you think that I can time the market profitably, then like, well, you could just buy the house and then just put on a trade that time the market, and they kind of accomplish like the same thing. But like, can you really do that?
Okay,
I'm
better question.
Skeptical.
Will San Diego real estate go down significantly if there is a recession like you're talking about?
Yeah, but like not permanently.
Yeah,
you
not as
know?
much as like Bitcoin.
It would go down like 6%.
And I also think
Yeah,
that
go down more than that.
more, but like I also think that a wise man, Nick Urbani, once said, if you're thinking about like a primary residence, that's not really an
It's not an
investment anyways.
anyway. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. It's just like when you actually get close to it, you're like, well, I don't want to lose money, so I want to make sure it's smart. But I guess the biggest fear I have is not the deflationary scenario. It's like more of like home prices running away from you. Like, luckily, we've all been able to out earn, the asset price inflation. But at some point, you got to kind of pull the trigger because you don't want it to run away from you. Like, what happens if it runs away in a faster pace than you anticipated?
Yeah, that's still
What
like
happens
the
if a
greater
Trump
fear.
Fed chair just like, I'm going to keep pressing this interest rate button down because I feel like it. And though, instead of going up 5% a year in San Diego, it starts going up like 9%. And you're like, okay, that would suck to have it like outpace me, even if you're a high earner.
That is
Okay.
the larger fear.
You think that is a larger fear? Is it the
Yeah, I mean,
appropriately weighted one?
I mean, that's mathematically guaranteed, right? It's just like you have this kind of, but even in the event I describe, like they still do something crazy that ends up causing your house to go to the moon after that.
After the
There's just
recession.
like, I just don't even know how anything ends in anything other than just a massive devaluation of the dollar at some point. Like it's just,
the bigger risk would try to time the possible recession from AI and like
yeah,
and
like
wirehouses.
I think in a general like long time horizon, if you're basically like borrowing fiat money to buy assets with leverage, like you're just kind of like on the right side of that trade. You just have to be aware, I think, of this kind of like tail risk scenario that I don't even think is like that tail risk at this point.
Might be coming around, boys.
Yeah.
Might be coming around.
He's back.
Barbecues and Nick's.
Hopefully.
Be my neighbor.
Hopefully. I almost was this weekend, but we walked away from it.
You walked away from it.
I wanna talk
Oh,
about
no.
this.
I know there's
What
a
happened?
lot that it's so
talk
funny.
about
Like
it
I
after
see
dark.
Armand in the office, and I have this look like that's my friend. I want to go talk to him, but we're both like on the way to something. We're just like
What
give
was
each
wrong-
other a
what was
look and
wrong with
laugh because
the-
like
what was
I-
wrong with
the other
house?
person's too busy to chat. It's
I
so
am-
funny.
What was wrong with the house?
I am fasted right now, and like I'm falling apart.
Yeah.
Like that's literally like I saw Nick twice today, and we actually just did like a
We did like a little salute.
salute.
Like
Like
You trying to get
I didn't even
skinny,
eat
bro?
today. No, I just
he was
didn't
dialed
have
in,
minutes.
bro. He was dialed in.
Oh, you're just too busy to eat.
I got a meal in the fridge that I'm about to nuke up, and
So hold
go
on,
ham on.
this whiskey has
Oh,
been
yeah, it hit
hitting
me
you
hard.
hard.
Hit me hard. Hit me hard. Yeah.
All right.
Why am I not buying the house?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it after the pod too. If it's not a good
Yeah,
content.
I mean, I think whether I buy one or not, we should talk about it because like it was like a change for me in the math and just like what I
So this is
wanted.
news. You're shopping. I just want
Yeah.
shopping. The
Yeah.
man is on the market.
Yeah, which was a big thing because as of Thursday, I was not looking at all.
I have so many questions.
That was a good house.
Yeah,
It
your
looked
brother
like a-
was like, after a meeting, he's like, Nick, you should buy the house next to me. I was like, fuck off. You're just trying to like get me into your
Yeah,
sick homeowners club where you have all these maintenance things that you have to, just 50K here, 20K here. I was like, I'm not joining your sick club. And then I looked at the house and I was like, actually,
Oh, he's the one who put it on your
he's the
radar.
one. And I was like, this actually looks like a pretty decent value, like for San Diego.
It's good value.
It-
It's
it
right
looked-
next door to my brother and right down the street
Yeah,
from me.
it looked
Can have
good.
a nice little family thing going on there. It's like the dream. Raise all our kids down the block from each other.
Commune.
Little
Commune?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Why are you ruining my fantasy? It's like you don't care about me at all.
Why don't you get to work on the kids as well?
Yeah, get the
Oh yeah.
you can't be single in this
So-
commune, bro. You got to
so
bring
easy.
you got to bring
Yeah.
you got to bring something to the table here.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Good convo.
Yeah. Thanks for everyone in the chat for hopping in and joining the conversation. It's always fun with you guys here. Like the video if you haven't already. Yeah, if you disagree with us, let us know in the comments, please. And next week, we'll see you Wednesday, 5 p.m. PST on YouTube. All links are at alfalfapod.com. See you next week. Thanks, guys.
Later, guys.
Bye.